is what we have all been waiting for. 1 day and 6 matches to determine who our 2025 FNCS Pro-Am champ team is going to be. And initially off the jump, Peterbot, Aussie, they've got control of Slurpee, but they've got company.
If that would have just been a Mammoth pistol right out of the gate for Peterbot, I would be worried for Booga and TG, but now it's just a bunch of SMGs. Ozzy already found the Mammoth. He's going to go ahead and deliver that one first class on over to Peterbot as soon as he gets the chance, but they're just going to shield up, get a lot of these chests. In reload, it's about 100% chest spawn, so you got a lot of opportunity to get the loot that you need.
Keep an eye on where Allier and Mongrel are actually going to be headed. Clake's, Lacey, a little bit of pressure coming out from Venno and Reddish. And typically, you could expect that some of these POIs, you can just split them even 50-50 for the most part, but I don't think that a 50-50 clean split is the intention here.
No, I don't think it is for the most part, but because of those 100%, there's a lot of floor loot and stuff that they can split it rather safely, or you can choose to fight it later once you do get that full loadout. But I did see in the feed, typical gamer taking down Courage. Now Cypher PK is going down. So a lot of these players already just going right at it to try to get those early elimination points so they don't have to worry about a deficit later on.
And it's always rough to be one of the first players eliminated, because then you're just an open season target for the rest of the lobby. Alex, if he'd had that reload online, we might have even expected to see him fire a shot out of that Mammoth one more time, but Slurpee Swamp getting a little bit encroached upon, and this is Aussie and Peterbot's territory, but more so Peterbot's.
Everybody kind of switching things up. It does look like Seti is just away from where we thought he was going to drop initially and put himself in a 1v2 situation against Savage and Lachlan. But Savage just gets Mammoth, and I believe it was Peterbot from on top, and already he's moving in for the straight elimination. Down goes Savage as Peterbot is instantly getting busy here in game 1.
Peterbot sees action. Peterbot wants his own part of it. Finding that first elimination now means everybody else is left scrambling. Lachlan trying to escape. He knows he is on the hunt, but Peterbot, watch your back. There's more company, more targets in sight.
It's like the Peterbot hit list, and it scores 38 players, every single one. He's trying to get at least a single elimination on everybody in the game. Here in Savage getting rebooted, and these are the big warnings that we were talking about. It's just like a flare in the sky. They know exactly where you're at, and Peterbot is just on the hunt for Mr. Savage yet again, who luckily finds at least a shockwave to create just a little bit more distance.
But how far can you run when Peterbot is chasing you down like this? He still has a couple of shots, one more left inside of this Mammoth, and then it'll be up close and personal. Thunder Shotgun pulled at the ready. Savage clip, but he doesn't have enough HP to tango, and that's gonna be a knock. Another elimination for Peter. Who needs a warm-up when you've got game 1 to get things done?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows, but Savage kind of just helped the lobby right there, because you saw Peterbot only had one more Mammoth pistol shot left, so he's not going to be able to do that much damage from far away anymore unless he finds his loot llama in the fact of Aussie Antics, to see if you have any more of those that I can borrow. Thomas HD, Somerset, just moving north from their original drop spot, and you can see they have a pretty decent loadout, but when we're looking for Thomas HD, no sniper, no Mammoth pistol, he doesn't have the firepower that we expect him to have yet.
A little bit of you take this, I'll take that from Somerset and Thomas. But Aussie, Peterbot, they're not done. Pete especially, he's just keying everybody. And Mongrel, this is a conversation starter. Peterbot annoyed even that these two would have the audacity to challenge them at Slurpee Swamp. But Peterbot, Allier nearly bringing Pete down. Pete actually going to be forced to pull back. But Aussie, he's got the supportive measure. He knows his responsibility, and he's going to make sure that Pete is safe and sound.
And the little things, Taco, it's the little things right there for Aussie, being able to go in, sneak in. He edited the backside cover for Peterbot to safely escape and gave the shields and heals exactly what he needs in a situation like that, because it was definitely a tough spot to be in for a quick moment. But relatively early, third zone, only 1 tick of damage. You could still stay and stagger yourself back if you need be.
But you see Aussie play back up, but then immediately goes right back to the farming. It'll be a test of endurance for those two making their way out of Slurpee Swamp. But Nikov, Podesai, can't even classify them as a dark horse because these are two very high-tier competitors, but with the way that they're kind of trying to position right now, Jacob, it looks like they don't want to get caught up in too much of that early commotion. They'd rather prioritize the positioning.
Yeah, talking to them in the player room before it started, they're just going to play their game. They're not concerned with everybody's drop spots. They're not concerned with everybody's strategies. They're not even concerned with anybody sleeping on them. They say, hey, that's a blessing, because they're not going to see what's coming. And I think they're just focusing on prioritizing the rotation this time around. That's why they're going towards the north, but towards the eastern side of the zone is going to be gone, and Flakes, they've had a rough time. That surprise triple contestation could delay your timing so much.
And even with Baxity and Reason kind of calling out the fact, hey, we're just looking to take the dock side entirely out of Salty Docks, but Cooper made a great point. He called out that those two are eventually going to have to rotate in, and guess where they're going to have to go through? Both of these duos opposite ends, so the fight was inevitable from Salty, and it's kind of left everybody a little bit more scattered.
Take a look at this, though. Typical gamer, one of the most viewed Fortnite creators in the world right now. And he's carrying the World Cup champion Booga 2 eliminations to 0. He has 7 crash pads, the legendary Slurp Juice. He has a very good loadout. Right now, the only real concern for them is how they're going to make their way in towards zone. They did let 1 or 2 teams already pass them on that rotation, and there's a third towards the north.
Hey, you can't sleep on TG, though. You have to remember, this is someone who's been playing alongside Quinn even out of the West region on NA, and they've been able to have some pretty strong performances. He's definitely a strong competitor. I'm excited to see how they continue to cook in this lobby, but Kanata, Ronaldo, they already got a little bit clipped, a little bit tagged up from Typical Gamer and Booga, so they are very much aware they might be getting pressed here soon.
The Mammoth pistol is going to be in Kanata's hands. They Ronaldo, kind of that clean-up loadout, the Stinger. Kanata can land a good amount of damage with that Mammoth pistol. Whether either one of the shotgun or the SMG, he's going to be able to clean that one up easy, but they're just on the side of the mountain. A lot of teams already pressing forward in that rotation. They're just kind of biding their time. They're a team with 2 FNC as champions, by the way, on it, that know that patience is a virtue, and just being able to just slowly let other players make the mistakes that you can capitalize on.
And hey, Alex kind of carrying over that performance from yesterday's practice lobbies. Already 3 eliminations. He's definitely keeping in mind just how impactful those individual elim points will actually amount to. And he's got Gone and Flakes in his sights. Poor Nate Hill doesn't even get a chance to respond. Threw up an attempt to defend himself, but Alex just way too quick on the trigger.
And that's what we were talking about in those practice games. Alex going punch for punch with the likes of Peterbot in terms of getting simple eliminations. As we're seeing the zone, it is going to close up just a little bit, but it's a 50-50 with the whole south side being in the zone, and that's why you see Peterbot and Ozzy just trying to rotate to the north. It's not a ton of damage by any means, Taco, but you can see they're trying to save and utilize their heals for as long as possible.
And the problem is that Chug Jug that Ozzy's holding onto isn't for him. That is got Peterbot's name on it. And the longer that Aussie can hold on to that without having to actually use it on himself, probably the better off they're going to feel with these rotates. And the direction that they're headed, though, Somerset, Thomas HD, they might have an opportunity here to try and cut off some teams, play a little bit of spoiler to this edge of zone.
Yeah, loadout's looking pretty good. They got that Chug Cannon, so that's basically infinite heals. You just need the timing to let them charge up. As Cold and Courage find themselves all the way towards the north, Steamy stacks, but there's about 6 teams on this side of the map. They find themselves in the zone, though. That's a luxury they know they can count on for now.
This is still a nice readjustment in comparison to a lot of the troubles that we saw them encountering in yesterday's practice games. Courage, Cold, they'd rather bide their time. They don't actually have to throw away their positioning anytime soon, but if Regs and Nahill get a little bit too close in their space, you can expect some sparks to fly.
Yeah, and I feel like it's this point of the game, the nerves start to just get a little bit more up there because those reboots are about to turn off in Zone 7. So most of the teams have already rotated. You can see it in the minimap in close proximity of one another. So even though if you go down here, now it's the 6th zone, you will reboot, but where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna find the loot? So that's why you're seeing a lot of these teams taking it just a little bit more serious than some of the games that we saw yesterday.
Plus, you got to keep in mind, Cooper, Zemi, they were grinding all morning. They've got to be feeling very warmed up, doing nonstop 2v2s up against Kanata and stable Ronaldo. And the way that they just shockwave towards that center zone, they're bound to get caught up in a little bit of action. But Reddish, Veno, first off, they want to be the ones intervening. Gon and Blake, they've got an exchange up against Kanata. They took out Ronaldo, but Reddish and Veno, they don't want to let up any pressure. They're just going to continuously spray into where that action's taking place.
I just feel so bad for Ronaldo right now. I don't even know where he's going to end up landing, but if he can find his way back to Kanata, that will be good. And they are kind of deep in the back of the zone. This is about what are his chances, which is going to be relatively good. I don't even know how he just done it, but he did it.
And that's what you look at a former FNCS champ for, okay? Ronaldo's got his method. He's got some tricks up his sleeve. He's got a little bit of vengeance. It's typical gamer. Gon and Flakes interrupting. That's just so rude.
It's a tough spot to be in, too. He couldn't even fully stand up. He was kind of stuck crouched down at the top of the mountain. Cooper, Zemi, honestly, leading up into this Pro-Am, this has to be one of the most predicted teams in top 5, one of the most predicted teams to actually win the FNCS Pro-Am. But hold up, Cole getting busy. Courage said they were going to take out Cypher PK. I'm not sure if he said he was going to do it himself or he was going to let Cole do it for him.
Look, who else was getting their duo bananas? Who else was getting their duo water? Courage, that's who. And it's showing off here. Cold, feeling primed and ready to go. Cypher being the first victim, and possibly many more to come.
And Cypher also in a tough spot. With Moxie being a little bit of a solo here for a few seconds, if she can buy the time, they will. And you hear that sound, reboots are going to be disabled from here on out. If you go down, you are forced to watch the rest of the game play out. Oh!
Every player for themselves, and absolutely nobody is safe. Shockwave or crash pad, whatever direction you want to head, but you've got to keep your head on a swivel, otherwise you might lose it. As Veno so nicely showcased, but Veno and Reddish, they've still got their work cut out for them. They know there's a lot of neighbors that they don't necessarily want to be knocking on the doors of just yet. You're trying to draw as little of attention as possible.
Ooh, Ollie, I did see him kind of get targeted by a few players, dropped to a low HP. Peterbot's the one that's actually cleaning up the elimination. Points go to Booga, loot goes to Peterbot. And that's where you're seeing a whole lot of importance as Moxie. We literally saw her go down. Now we're seeing what happens when you get rebooted a little too late, and now she is out of there.
But look at Nick and Queasy. They're already trying to come into your eye. Peterbot and Aussie, they're just going to clear out their own dead side rotate. Pete, always happy to get involved with a little bit of box-to-box fighting, and if they're not careful though, High Ground might actually take notice of what's going on. Mongrel barely lucky to still be alive right now. That's a rare miss from Peterbot.
And he's feeling the pressure here because this is a duo competition, but for the rest of this game, Mongrel's gonna have to play it out as a solo, and I think Peterbot sees the weakness. He's getting the green light, but shots come in, they spray the cover. Really forced them to kind of rethink that strategy there for that quick moment. And that's saving Mongrel. He doesn't even know how he just got blessed, but on High Ground, you know him, you love him. It's Queasy, it's Nick S30, and hopefully this time around they can hold on to their high ground.
The zone pulling over this hillside has just completely set Queasy and Nick in an optimal position, but you always have to be careful because High Ground can be challenged at any given moment, and Queasy is fully aware of that factor. He's already caught a glimpse of Shota and Koyota on that secondary height, but teams are on the move. They're trying to control that front side low, and Podesai, Nikov, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
Yeah, he has to let that legendary Slurp juice get his HP and shield back up, because if he were to go now, one Mammoth Pistol will definitely do him in. But now the crash pad's going out. They're just simply trying to make their way to the front side of the gun. Clicks and Lacey, same thing as Cold finds himself with another elimination. That's one each for Courage and Cold. He promised one banana means one elimination, and he kept that promise right here.
Oh, that potassium helping counteract those back cramps. Courage, he's coming alive. Somebody throw out the time machine for this man. But Nick, Queasy, still up on the high ground, still trying to prevent anybody in these lower layers, and Reddish Veno caught up in a little bit more of the mix-up than what they were hoping for, but it's Vaxity who's on the back heel. Vaxity gonna be forced to just shockwave away. Cold though, he just lost Courage, but it doesn't matter because Koyota is down for the count.
It's a different level of flexibility when you're playing as a solo. No, you not have to be careful anymore as Ozzy gets caught out as well. Cold just taking names and checking them off that list one at a time, but there's no siphon. He needs the HP, and he found Peterbot's Chug Jug.
That's all that Cole needed. He just wanted all of the material, all of the opportunities that Ozzy was able to provide off that body loop. But Nick, Queasy, they're still intact. They're still fully in control of this high ground. Clix and Lacey might be hoping to try and counteract this, but from the secondary high position, they still got to deal with these teams on low. Queasy and Nick, they're not letting up either. Alex doing what he can to fend for himself in the backside, but Nikov Podeside immediately shockwaving towards the front side low. They're waiting, they're hoping that somebody is going to run into one of their pre-edits.
There are 15 teams still alive. Placement points have not touched this lobby just yet. It's all eliminations all the way, as Cold is looking for another one. Savage, weak as can be on the other side. Lachlan's there as well. Shockwave from Kanata, causing a little bit of destruction and confusion, as Cold is simply on the hunt. An opportunity there, but he misses out. But Zemi's going to steal that one away, as Peterbot is struggling to get out of the box, but they send him back to the lobby anyway.
And Queasy, the lone man on height, he's going to try and just make sure that he's got it as long as possible. Clix and Lacey, though, all the way in the bottom field, they are making sure that nobody can challenge their current position. Clix creating so much space. Lacey, all that bot reviewing from last night, buddy. It's kicking in now. Queasy going to be dropped down into the heart of the action, and now Clix, Lacey, they might actually do this.
He finds his former teammate, Veno, the 6 out of 12, as he lands another shot, but he gets Shockwave out of zone, quickly uses his, finds his way back, 0 builds left, but on the high ground, it's his EU competition. He goes for a play, but gets set right back down. Nikov, Podeside, 4 eliminations, they're in control.
And they absolutely blocked off Queasy's attempt to actually catapult himself back up the high ground. Clix, Lacey, they're just too tangled up. It's only going to be Clix that manages to finagle his way out of here, but he's going to shockwave up. He sees Podeside, but he's a target. But Podeside's been sent packing. It's only Nikov, the other half of the Gentlemates, to keep this one alive.
There's one duo left in this game, and it's Cooper and Zemi. Everybody else is solos, as Queasy's trying to go for the heal off. The Chug Jug backside of the zone. He barely gets it off in time, but Cooper and Zemi, they have the Chug Cannon. Infinite heals as long as they have the time. Queasy drops down from above, but it's only a short stint. He doesn't want to go ahead and stay there for too long, as Nikov goes down. 2v1 situation. If anybody can do it, it has to be Queasy.
But Queasy's just outnumbered. Cooper and Zemi are gonna strike first. Victory Royale. And this is the moment they want to keep that momentum building.
They won the last game of the practice games yesterday. They held on to that momentum. They held on to that confidence, and they fired off here in game 1. Let's go and see how they're feeling with Frankie.
All right, guys. Congratulations. Gale and Center, give it up for your Victory Royale winners. Cooper, you knew that he had it in him. He's been practicing for this moment, but did you think straight out the gate you'd be picking up the first Victory Royale?
100%. I mean, we're going to win this whole thing. I'm with the best teammate here. I'm feeling super confident. IGLing feels good. I'm feeling great.
All eyes were on Queasy and the high ground, but you guys were just staking things out on the low ground. Talk me through that end game.
Yeah, I mean, end game, we looked at high ground. We saw they're very established. Cooper called it to go low ground. I was on him the whole time. He was calling it, and I was just trying to get kills, give him everything he needs, and it worked out.
It really did work out. Do you think you need to change things up now to keep people guessing in the lobby?
No, I mean, we might change things. We might not. I don't know, but all I know is we're gonna win more.
Well, all eyes are gonna be on you.
You're getting put into a smoothie right now, but they figured it out. Peterbot was able to create enough distance so when Ozzy got rebooted yet again, they're more closer towards Slurpee Swamp. But you gotta remember, it was Boogan, typical gamer, that got those early eliminations onto Ozzy, and they already moved into that POI.
Ooh, Alex getting mixed up here with Nate Hill, but Nate Hill, that's gonna be a fast elimination. Regs now just looking to pull back. She needs to disengage. Defense is the best offense at times, and Regs knows. Alex not trying to let up the pressure anytime soon, with Nate dropping back into the lobby. If he's not careful, he could get eliminated one more time. Alex nearly picking off Nate on the landing, and he'll get the job done, finish what he started. And Nate just gonna have to sit and hope that Regs is gonna be able to play a little bit more defense for him so he can actually touch down.
And these were the fears. These were the fears. Talking to Alex, even Kanata, that you can't split and play that way because it's like a beacon. You're like a flare in the ocean. They know exactly where you're respawning at. And now Alex has found the actual player keeping the whole thing alive with all the loot, which is Regs, getting pressured in by Loser Flute on one side. Alex playing box to box on the other. The top was already taken, and now he's moving in to try to clean up this elimination onto Regs, and he does so with ease. The numbers game is just too much.
But with how close we are to Boom and Mace, that might actually draw the attention of the Gentlemates, Nikov and Podeside. They're starting to kind of poke their heads on over. They've got a good idea that maybe there's a survivor trying to scramble into their area. Peterbot and Aussie, though, they left Slurpy Swamp wide open, and other teams have tried to move in, but Mongrel doesn't stand a chance. Peterbot letting him know what's good for what feels like the millionth time since yesterday's games. And Peterbot, 2 eliminations already. He is just reminding everybody why you do not challenge him.
I feel like that's a symbol of Fortnite. Out with the old Mongrel, in with the new Peterbot. Because Peterbot's got to be like the new toy right there. 5 FNCSs. He sees Mongrel once again. A little bit of missed opportunities there from Peterbot. Something that you don't see very often, but at least it lets us know that he is human.
But it's just crazy to think about the fact that Aussie and Peterbot could land at Dirty Docks, and yet no other duo was able to take full advantage of moving into an optimal position at Slurpy Swamp to even try and cut them off. Sure, you've got Buga and Typical Gamer a little ways ahead of them, but even that is a fight that Peterbot is more than open to taking on head first.
Yeah, confidence at an all-time high here. And we saw this elimination on the Mongrel. We let him know what's up right afterwards. Ozzy just kind of playing that safe game. Something that Ozzy just playing his role pretty well, and he's not just getting that big head, that ego, and being invited to a competition like this. He said, hey, I'm just going to do what I need to do for my teammate, and we'll see what happens.
Koyota and Captain Shota, though, they're just going to keep things moving. They don't want to get stuck between multiple teams. They're trying to prioritize just making it into that initial edge of zone. But Koyota is such a prominent fragger. Everybody knows what he is capable of. And I think that's why they're just going to look to hedge their bets on taking this fight with Allier and Mongrel. Allier a little bit too split from his duo. He doesn't stand a chance. Koyota, just a menace to be reckoned with. That'll be his first elimination. And I'm sure that he's bound to continue looking up into the sky for more.
So some of those things you don't see coming with the crash pads and the shockwaves. You think you're safe, but no team is nearby. And a blink of an eye, Allier gets jumped on, put back on respawn. And that's the same pain Mongrel's been feeling. So for this game number 2, Allier and Mongrel have been having such a tough time as Koyota farms another elimination onto Allier. Even if they're not getting the siphon mats, the minis that comes with getting the elimination, it's the points that really matter.
We all knew that follow-up was inevitable from Koyota and Shota, but even more importantly still, we've got a little bit of a listen in with a couple of our fan favorites, Peterbot and Aussie.
Wait, Mongrel.
On you? Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go kill Allier.
Yeah, yep, nice.
Left
Yeah,
arm.
Yep, I'm just getting this slow trap and then I'll help you, okay?
Dead.
Nice, bro.
Right, farm out
Good
here,
stuff, good stuff.
follow Mongrel.
Yep, yeah. Nice, bro, good stuff, mate.
So now we know what the starting point was like between those two teams. Peterbot just calls the target, Aussie, all too ready to follow up.
If they were just a couple of seconds sooner on getting that elimination onto Mongrel, that would have been another team down and out of the game, but their strategy is not working so well because it's actually Zemi who steals away the elimination, Alex getting all of that loot. As they're trying to base up over here just south of Boomin Base, you see a couple of teams outside of the zone, a couple more inside of the zone, and you're seeing it's Podeside and Nikov, the ones that actually land off in this position, that are trying to take most use of it.
But we just saw Alex with 6 eliminations, 6 points already, Jacob, and yet there's only been one duo fully eliminated from this lobby.
Seeing the struggles that happen if you go down too early. And this is where I start to talk about a little bit of that danger zone, 5th zone, going into 6. You're still able to reboot, but where are you gonna go? You go too deep into the zone, you could get chunked out even with the barrels. It's Cammy, Jacob trying to play it very, very carefully. They know the whole western side of that zone is going to open up. They know it's relatively low damage, so they're going to hedge their bets in that direction.
But with all that early commotion at Dirty Docks, glad to see Faxity and Reason are still kicking in this one. They're looking like they might be able to get a nice flank opportunity onto a couple of our teams that are pushed a little bit further inside this edge of zone. But Fax and Reason, big brother, trying to be careful, doesn't want to overstep his welcome.
You know, when Faxity got in last second, I might have been one of the happiest people being able to watch him play, being able to check out his streams. He is so entertaining, and he's good. He's good. He just needs to get more reps in a competition. You know, you saw that stat. He's placed top 10 in at least 10 of them. He just hasn't been able to pull off that big win. But hey, if he's able to pull off a win here at the FNCS ProAM, that's the only one that matters.
His only option is to pull off a victory royale here, Jacob. He said he was getting at least one for the broadcast today, at least one for the fans back home, and he's got to get at least one for Amar. I mean, show the man some love. Everything happens for a reason, though, and we'll have to check back in with Faxity to see what's taking place. Cooper, Zemi, wanting to get a little bit aggressive onto Daya and Seti. They're going to have to sit and wait.
Seeing at least 3 teams over towards Slurpee. One of them is going to get jumped on by Peterbot. That's Jacob who does go down. It's actually Ozzy who gets the elimination. 3rd one of the game, and they get that legendary Slurp juice. It's going to heal up that shield and HP over time if they need it, which they might because the zone is pulling all the way towards the north. I'm not sure who that second team is just outside of Slurpee Swamp with them. It's going to be Flakes and Gone. They need to be careful because Peterbot and Ozzy are warming up and getting more and more dangerous as time goes on.
Oh, but Cammy, he's running out of mobility options and he is being chased out. Jacob already looking grim as far as his HP can take him, though. And he'll buy a little bit more time here, but Gone and Flakes, they're not looking to let things settle. The rest of the lobby also taking notice of this team that's under duress, and Jacob will be forced to duck underneath that bridge, try to reunite with Cammy. Gone and Flakes gonna tarp their way through. They've got enough hard mats to make it happen, but you don't want to burn all of your material too early on.
Yep, it's Flakes and Gone, but let's go ahead and take a listen in for Thomas, HD, and Somerset and how they're playing through this endgame.
1.5, 55. I think we're just gonna have to be a little aggressive.
Wait, there's a guy at least. That was the guy from before.
Yeah, there's a team buff.
I like that. I like that. Everybody knows Thomas HD, probably the IGL from the team, but Somerset just letting her opinion be known. We might have to play a little bit aggressive, giving up that information. And if I'm Thomas HD and my teammate says, look, we got to start getting aggressive to close the gap, I would be with it, especially if I got a Mammoth.
Thomas was just so nonchalant about that elimination, too. It's like he had no other expectations but for it to go his way as Alex finds yet another knock, potentially having been stolen away from him, though. But no, it is credited. Nate Hill will one more time be added to the tally count here for Alex and Loserfruit. Oceano showing up big right now, and Loserfruit herself, she said it, all I want is to place higher than Lockie. And with the way that Alex is firing off on all cylinders right now, he might be able to make it happen.
A power grudge match, and honestly, Alex with those 7 eliminations as that one gets taken away by Cold and possibly Faxity as well. I think this might be the most eliminations we've actually been able to see. I know it's only been 1.5 games so far, but with reboots turned off, that's where the pressure is really going to be felt. Nate Hill, Regs separated a little bit too far for their own liking, especially since they're both going to feel a little bit of that max pull. Regs is going to go down to Thomas HD. One more elimination point for them, and now that leaves Nate Hill by himself.
Cold's bound to have spotted out that body loot, though, that Regs just popped off directly underneath their current position. Courage, a little bit pressed here for the loadout, but he's at least got 150 in that chug jug. They can still work with this. They would definitely like a refresh because every elimination point, we're gonna need to see some of these teams start going big like other individuals already have.
Yeah, this might be one of them. You see, he does have that exotic SMG. Every time he reloads, he does get that 0-point dash effect a little bit. Doesn't last a long time, but hey, in an end game this chaotic, it's the little difference makers that really count. As Jacob and Cam are just trying to go ahead and cement their position. They know it's not a far rotation to zone, but how dangerous this lobby is. They blink and things could turn sideways. Instead of going through, Moxie, Cypher going up and over, and Stable, Ronaldo, Kanata are trying to get denied entry.
Everybody just preventing Ronaldo and Kanata from moving even 1 inch closer. They're going to be forced to actually pull back, try and drop as much wall coverage as possible, but it's Peterbot and Aussie that are refusing to let Kanata and Ronaldo get any closer. They want full control of this low ground position, and they've got it. They've made Kanata and Ronaldo use so much of their builds. Ronaldo doesn't really have a whole lot left to work with. They're gonna need to find an elimination for a refresh.
Yep, and this is a good opportunity here. Of course, they want a shockwave to the front, but at least they're able to get a little bit of point of view where their competition is at. As soon as they make their way there, box up, let a lot of the zone start to open up. But 2 of 2 games so far. Queasy and Nick at 30 going for that early high ground, 8th zone. There's still a couple more, so hopefully it works out this time.
But it's the Queasy classic, get height, don't die. He said Nick was moving earlier while they were doing their warm-ups this morning. And Nick, he knows sole responsibility, just apply pressure to whatever angle that Queasy doesn't have full tabs on. They just want to prevent anybody from moving up with them.
Got to be careful for those shockwaves. Any team down below could shockwave up. Try to hit a little bit of surprise attack. Ozzy went down not too long ago, which leaves Peterbot by himself. And I said the same thing about Cold. It's a different feeling when you're Peterbot as a solo. He doesn't have to play to help Ozzy. He doesn't have to play to help a duo. He can just play as a solo without a worry, but it comes crashing down for Nick at 30 as Gon and Flakes look up and send them packing.
And Queasy, he doesn't have any mobility. He's going to be forced to actually commit to those lower layers unless he can find a refresh. But the punishment is steep. Peterbot catches Flake completely off guard. Gon now going to be forced to work as a solo from this current zone, and Gon, he's got the high ground. He's trying to stop Thomas in his tracks, but Gon, how much longer can you realistically buy time with this loadout?
Peterbot behind him does have that shockwave. He can make his presence known in the blink of an eye, so Gon has to be careful. A lot of our solos just trying to look bigger than they actually are. Clicks is even going for the high ground. Peterbot finds his way in. The legendary slurp juice that he got from Ozzy paying off big.
Anybody else, you wouldn't even bat an eye, but for Peterbot, he's used to working in this kind of operation. The solo scenario is what he can actually pop off in best, but Lacey, Clicks, they're a duo compadre unit. They don't have to worry about anybody else because they're taking advantage, just spraying all these teams to the low ground.
They have the chug jug, they have the slurp. Down below, Peterbot is trying to hold on to his position, spraying to the backside of the zone. That's Faxity that's feeling a little bit of pressure as they get shockwaved up and off. Clicks, Lacey do not have high ground anymore. In fact, they're going to get sneak off for it. First down going to be cleaned up. Clicks is firing on all cylinders.
And Clicks better because that shockwave sent Lacey in the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter. Clicks, he finds Alex. That's a huge shutdown to Loser Fruit's team. And even with Clicks losing Lacey, he looks like he's got things fully under control in the high ground.
He has to be careful though. He has no real way down in terms of safety. No shockwaves, no crash pads, but he's making sure nobody can look up, so it will not be a worry, especially with the zone floating on over to the side of that mountain. Another solo is going to be Peterbot, and he's running out of his chug jug, and he's running out fast.
That zone was looking awfully devious, but the way that it's pulling back over this elevation is actually going to be a huge benefit to Clicks. He's got these pre-existing builds. All he has to do is keep the pressure at an all-time high. Peterbot might be forced to drop here in a moment though, but who's he going to drop into? Could it be Cooper? Could it be Kanata? No, instead, layer transition back towards that secondary height. Venom sent to the abyss off that shockwave, and Daya, she'll meet her end though.
Now every single person left alive in this game is a solo in this competition, and Seti's just trying to work his way through. All he has is the bare minimum, the siphon mask, but if you look up, no, that's not an angel, that's Clicks, and he has more legendary slurp juices that he knows what to do with. This is a Clicks game.
Kanata, he's reliving the practice moments currently. He doesn't have any heals this time though, and Seti, don't know if he's in the same kind of position, but look at Clicks, an absolute menace in the high ground, just causing so much mayhem for the two down below. Seti finds Kanata, now it's all up to Clicks. Clicks trying to make sure he just doesn't get chopped out. Seti, he's got a way to make his way towards the high ground. Clicks can't afford a drop, he has to use all of his builds. He still has slurp juices remaining. He's gonna look for City. He wants the finishing shot. He doesn't need the heal up, but he might just look to play it safe anyway.
Cypher mats are so important. That changes the game completely from the situation we're in. Double slurp juice pop. He sends City flying outside of the zone, but back he goes, and back he does it. Clicks and Lacey win game number 2.
They said they were up all night, and it doesn't matter what anybody else might make of it because they came prepared here today. The performance is peaking, Jacob. A victory royale in game 2, and Frankie, even more to say.
If there's anything we learned from that last game, it's that America's sweetheart never plays it safe. Clicks, the two of you take the high ground. Lacey goes down. What's your reaction?
I might have shockwave Lacey into zone, and I knew that would have been a big sell, but it doesn't matter because I won it, so it's all good.
Is that why he sent you into the zone? Because he wanted to do it as a solo, Lacey?
He sent me into the zone, but I trusted him the whole way. I never had a doubt he was winning that.
And while he is winning it, are you talking to him, or are you like, I gotta stay silent, let him do his thing?
I was just giving him simple calms, mats, refreshes, pop his slurp before he goes down and fights, and letting him play.
And you are loving those shockwaves because we saw that Seti got shockwaved into the zone in those final moments. In a way, it kind of won you the game. Is this your favorite item right now in Reload?
Honestly, my favorite item is a spaz. They need to bring the spaz back.
Well, I know that a lot of people from Epic Games are watching, so they might take on your suggestion. But how satisfying was that solo moment? How did you keep track of everything from the high ground?
Honestly, I just kept on building up and up where shockwaves can't get to that height limit, so you basically have no threat. You just keep on playing your game and spraying.
Now, there's an interesting situation that happened at the start of that game, which was that Peterbot and Aussie Antics, they dropped on our leaders from the first game, Cooper and Zemi. Are you worried they're going to be coming your way?
The thing is, me and Peter got a good alliance going on, so honestly, keep on dropping on Cooper and Zemi.
Excuse me, we want a fair fight. Hopefully we're gonna have one. Before we head to the break though, please, Galen Center, show your appreciation for Clicks and Lacey. We'll be right back.
This is it, like you're saying, the halfway point, and you saw that leaderboard. And it's not necessarily going the way that I thought. It's not elimination heavy. It's been consistency in the placements and making these top 5s, making these top 3s. So this is what it's really all about. Maybe you could close the gap in the last half of the day, but who knows?
One thing's for sure though, Faxity and Reason playing that third-party contest, that Dirty Dogs, has made it very difficult for Flakes and Gone to find that level of consistency in comparison to Zemi and Cooper. They've just been silently sliding through those end games. We saw their game 1 pop off too, and other teams, they're gonna have to step it up or they'll fall behind.
Yeah, it's really, really important here because this is a good pacing game, seeing where you're at versus the rest of the pack. It's almost like testing your strategy. Is it working? But Benno just keeping his eyes peeled, sees Lacey land a little short. There goes half of the HP. And I don't think Benno's gonna go on this great chase. It's a little bit too risky, especially since he doesn't even necessarily know where Clicks himself has landed, so he doesn't want to get taken down a little early.
I think if Benno had a shockwave there, he would have gone for it. He would have full sent it, but no mobility means you're gonna have to come to a halt. Alex on the other end, he's got Cypher PK in his sights, and Cypher shockwave to safety just in the nick of time. He'll be able to reunite with Moxie, and she'll play that supportive measure, that backup unit. And that's gonna stop Alex in his tracks. He can't continue to press that issue.
You know, watching the Milk Cup, Moxie was trying to make a last game run in that final game of the day. I think they had like 15 plus elimination before they eventually went down and were cut short. But that's the type of confidence I do want to see from these teams. Take control of your own game. Get aggressive when you can, especially if Alex and Loser Fruit are landing on you and trying to take the fight and catch you off guard.
Scenes at Fort Crumpet, though, is just Queasy trying to take advantage of Seti and Naya spotted off on the bridge a little bit further north. And Queasy, he's always got a very familiar strategy, Jacob. Doesn't matter if it's FNCS, Major Finals, or if it's the Pro-Am. Queasy's gonna be looking for height every single time.
And so far about the 8th zone and first 2 games, we have seen them kind of lead the pack in terms of consistently being up there on that high ground. It's just closing it out has been the struggles. Whether it's somebody shock-waving you off of the high ground or you doing it yourself, they need to figure out how to close out those mistakes and kind of minimize how many they're making. It's Koyota. Captain Shota. Log jam lodging. They're just kind of looting up slowly. There is one player towards their south that they might have to be careful for, but this is a team that is coming in as a little bit of an underdog, so to say. Nobody really expects much from them, even though Coyote is always breaking the mold and showing us new tricks in competitions just like this.
Oh, you can't say nobody, because Captain Shota, if you got a chance to talk to that guy like I did, he was just calling out, we are going to be winning. It's going to take a little bit of a pop-off now to play catch-up, but Alex stopped mid-air by Nate Hill. You want to go for a boom battle. Nate Hill coming out on top of that exchange. Loser Fruit, all she wants to do now is just wait that full 10 seconds. She's just hoping that Alex is able to actually touch ground, though.
Oh my. I was saying Nate Hill got a good upgrade because he didn't have a shotgun before, but now Regs has the mythic mini gun in reload. That is going to shred if they can keep it towards the end game. Fresh off the respawn, it's Loser Fruit this time around though versus Nate Hill. This is a good amount of loot if they're able to take down Loser Fruit, but I hear the crash pad and there is so much distance being made by Loser Fruit with that heads up play.
But Nate, he's got to be real careful. You don't want to get over ambitious. You don't want to draw too much attention. Alex hiding, waiting to see if he can get an angle on opening any kind of way to find this knock of revenge onto Nate Hill. But Nate immediately causing that elimination to take place onto Loser Fruit now means that Alex will be forced to just continue hiding.
He gets a little bit of the zone. It's just unfortunate where Nate Hill and Regs are currently positioned at. He can't really rotate to either the left or that right side. So he literally has to wait until they disengage off that position before he can do anything. Deep into Dirty Dogs, Faxity, Reason, a late entrant not only to a competition like this, but a late contest on this side of the map, and it looks like they're leading the fight. Reason does have the breacher, so he can break through these builds relatively easy, but they're shock waving to try to find safety, and Reason is going in onto Gon. They realize this is a 2v1. It's now or never, but a big shot from Gon is going to slow things down.
And Flakes, he's got to come play a little bit of supportive measure. He knows that Gon just got a huge crack onto Reason's shield, but Faxity, Reason, now split angle approach. Gon gonna crank all the way to the high ground, just crash pad to safety. He does have a chug jug, and with Flakes nearby, Flakes is gonna be the one to actually cut off that line of sight there for Reason and Faxity. But this fight at Dirty Docks, it's inevitable, Jacob, because there's only one way to actually make it towards the edge of zone. Faxity and Reason, we're going to have to approach one of the two other teams landing in that POI, and it just happens to be the Brazilians every time.
Yeah, and it's just now turning unfortunate for both of them instead of just Faxity and Reason. The zone is pulling further and further to the east, so there's so many more teams that they're going to have to find a way to make their way through, including Peterbot and Ozzy, who just got their first elimination.
And onto Booga nonetheless. Peterbot just so dastardly. The moment that he sees anybody, he's so down to just key them immediately. That's brimming with confidence.
I think first place was about 27 points. That was Clicks and Lacey. Second place, only 3 points away. 3 eliminations separating as of now. But you can see that two teams still over here. 1 damage per tick in the zone. There's a lot of chug barrels, a lot that you can go ahead and recuperate the HP, the bandages as well. So it's not too much of a worry that they're staying here, but look at all the resources that they're using. Reason is almost out of those small bullets. You see him just 5 shots left in the shotgun. Luckily, Faxity is there to finish off that elimination and give him the loot he so desperately needs.
That was a great snipe by Faxity, making sure to cut off that escape angle. But at the same time, Jacob, they spent so much time. This was such a steep investment, fighting for so long at Dirty Docks, and they're not exactly better off for it. Loser Fruit gonna add to the count, though. 1 more elimination for Faxity and Reason to take advantage of. But they are still out in no man's land compared to where other teams are already positioning inside of the zone. And with the amount of time spent, they might as well just continue to play exclusively for eliminations.
Yeah, especially since, you know, if you're in full control, you have all the loot, and you hear those players just getting rebooted over and over and over. You know that solo player is staying by, and you can just continue to farm just like they're doing so far. Cold and Courage rotating through Slurpee Swamp. They have to be careful. Seti and Daya right above them. Mongrel and Ollie A just close to the zone, and there's still one more team as well. All of them have a little bit of priority over them on this rotation for now.
A lot of bodies, though, at Slurpy Swamp, and we all know Peterbot does not like anybody in his territory. Might only be a matter of time before he looks to start clearing out some of those teams and playing a little bit more aggressive, but peeking back in with our Game 2 winners, Lacey and Clicks. If they can continue to replicate the level of success they found in the last lobby, Jacob, they might start to run away with this one.
They have that calm, cool, collected demeanor. They have the chemistry, best friends, some would say, as Ozzy's on the other side, putting pressure down from above. Peterbot's to have a crash landing, trying to make his way up with that shockwave. Meanwhile, that full duo that they were going up against quickly made their way on out. You said it yourself, Taco. Slurpy Swamp, that belongs to one man and one man only, or boy. That would be Peterbot. And he's just really wreaking havoc all around the lobby. And you're seeing that he's going to pack a punch in his loadout. It's not just the Thunder Shotgun and the Mammoth. He's making sure that he has the SMG as well. That way he can just end a fight in the blink of an eye.
But with the way that Peterbot and Aussie essentially just reclaimed Slurpy Swamp, they forced every single one of those other teams that were trying to take advantage of some of the heals surrounding Slurpy completely away. He's not allowing anybody else to utilize those resources. It's only Peterbot and Aussies to take advantage of. Ronaldo, Kanata, they're one of those teams a little bit stuck on the outskirts of Slurpy, but they got a decent little loot pile next to them.
See, I knew this was the only team with 2 FNCS championships, but with a Chapter 2 Season 1 win, Ronaldo is the only creator with an FNCS champion. Hey, that's got to give a little bit of confidence for someone like Ronaldo. I know we were kind of watching him practice in the rooms. His mechanics are there. It's just kind of like the outside factors that change when Fortnite and the meta changes.
But Ron doesn't even need the championship title. Ron would have that confidence regardless of the circumstances surrounding his competitive history. Allier, though, Zeke was asking for it. Guys, please stop bullying him. And it seems like it's worked out so far, but Mongrel, Allier, they might be running smack dab into Cammy soon. Gotta keep an open eye out. Blix has lost Lacey, though, and we are rapidly approaching that no more reboots territory.
This is best case scenario, though, with Lacey going down, because you got a max pull to the south, which means a lot of those teams are already going to start their rotations on over. Just need to figure out how you're going to get the loot. And if Flakes and Gon are going to push up on you, but no, it's actually Clicks the one looking to get aggressive. If he can win this 2v1 fight, that's the loot that they need. And there's a big shot on the Gon. He goes back to back. Flakes is feeling the pain as well. Clicks is not slowing down as he does get the knock. Gon is gone. He is out of here. And now that is Lacey's loot.
And Clicks, he's still looking to chase him out. He wants to get this duo fully eliminated. Flakes barely managing to survive. He's trying to run every which direction. One more shockwave to create some space. Lacey with attack from overhead. They're crash padding in. They've got Flakes on the run, but he's gonna sit and hide inside of the bush. They don't have any idea where he's actually scurried off to, and they'll be forced to just head right back to the zone.
Flakes did his job. He gave Gon a chance to get rebooted back up, and with him staying alive, there's going to be a second chance as well. But I wish them all the luck in the world, because look how stacked that side of the zone is when the reboots finally turn on. Luckily, there's barrels. There is Slurpy Swamp, so there is going to be some chances. But you got to give credit, all the credit in the world to Clicks, not only making that opportunity possible, getting Lacey back in the game, but getting him loot. Isn't that the creator's job?
But it's just not enough loot, and Clicks, he's gonna pay the ultimate price. They're victims now to the rest of the lobby. Everybody holding into their position, and they're down and out for the count, Jacob. They'll go back to the battle bus for game 4.
That is just 8 placements too short to get any placement points. At least he was able to get some eliminations to keep the points flowing. As Faxon and Reason just getting targeted. Luckily for them, as of now, they're on the front side of the zone, so eventually teams will have to start to rotate their way in. Just how long can they keep a hold of this pressure? And it seems like things have settled for them, so it's about assessing the situation. And you can see they're using everything that they have, every resource. Bandages first, then the Chug Jug if needed. And this is how Gon is just getting put in the ringer right now. Another elimination, and it's after 7th zone. He's not coming back this time.
And Gon and Flakes just caught in the crossfire for way too long. First it was Faxity and Reason, but Venno, Reddish, they're looking to keep the ball rolling here. Reddish is gonna have to take a moment, replenish some of those shields that she lost. But with 6 splashes, a couple of big pots, it's gonna be no issue whatsoever. They're definitely looking nice and healthy. but the high ground is what might be up for grabs soon.
Yeah, right now we see Queasy and Nick at 30 on one side, but on the other, Ali A and Mongrel are actually making an attempt for it. Might be a little bit too soon though. 7th zone may wait just a little bit longer, especially with one team getting focused, but they do have it, and they have it secured for now. You see them firing off into the distance. That's Queasy and Nick. They're seeing where the zone pulls, and Mongrel and Ollie A, they get the zone pull. They get high ground priority.
But the for now is the key word here, because the moment that Allier tries to get a peek overhead, Queasy just immediately pushing him back. They're still looking to play for that height takeover. And Queasy's intentions, this could be an all-out brawl for the high ground in a matter of seconds here. But the whole lobby is on the move, Jacob. They're all trying to control that front side.
Even Alex using the crash pad that wasn't even his. Mongrel, he's been in this situation before, being able to hold on to that high ground. Ali A is doing his job right. Anybody that flies past, he's trying to put down pressure, trying to land some damage, make it easier and easier for the lobby to thin out. But Reddish has just got taken down, leaving Veno by himself. And you can see he only has 3 minis, so he's going to need an elimination if this goes to a heal off.
He does have a lot of builds to work with though for the time being, but he's got Kanata and Stable Ronaldo directly underneath where he's boxed up. Mongrel still trying to control height, but Queasy, Nick A30, they're overtaken. Mongrel by his own, he can't keep tabs of everyone around him, so Queasy gonna force him to drop.
That was a 200 IQ play. You had Nick at 30 pushing up, being the actual aggressor. Queasy in the distance landing the damage. Ollie A is now down. Mongrel's by himself. 90 on the Chug Chug, only 25 builds left. He's trying to keep his position in the front side of the zone to attack. But for how long, with more and more players starting to put pressure, you feel and hear the shots firing onto his builds.
Oh, but Cammy just got shockwave deep into the heart of the storm. Peterbot, one more time, as a solo. He's gonna have to use the slurp juice. He's gonna have to find some more eliminations if they want to make up for the placement points with those individual elims. And Mongrel might just be the target in his sights. Mongrel doing everything he can, working his way through the low ground, but he doesn't have enough. Peterbot, though, getting caught up in more action than what he bargained for, trying to get the layer switch over, and he's going straight for the high ground tackle.
Might not take it all. He missed that opportunity. Goes straight down to the low ground. Thanks to that elimination on Mongrel, he does have some Chug Jug left. Veno's doing the same thing, getting aggressive, forcing players lower and lower on his current position. Queasy and Nick, third time could be the charm. We've seen him on high ground. Let's see him close it out.
But Kanata, Ronaldo, they just been skirting by. Peterbot with a 4th elimination now onto Nate Hill. And it could be disastrous for Savage. He's trying to see if he can make his way forward, but Peterbot actually gonna be the one caught off guard. Rex from behind, just taking him out. A menace to the lobby, no lore, but Rex paying the ultimate price. She's also been eliminated. Thomas bringing down Mr. Savage, and it's all by himself that he's got to keep this one alive.
Oh no, Shockwave just a little bit too far into zone. Only 10 on the Chug Jug, so that's essentially going to be a non-factor. Down below, one of the few duos left in this game, Ronaldo and Kanata. They are the ones on the hunt. They are the ones causing complete chaos down below, especially for any team that crosses path, and the Gentle Mates have just been separated. Nikoff is down as Ronaldo picks up his 3rd elimination.
But Ronaldo, he's running slim as far as the builds are going, and Seti, he might have to drop. Seti might have to get involved, getting a couple of tags. Kanata's shield's so incredibly low, but Seti, he's all by himself. He's just trying to stay out of the line of sight, and he can't go much further. He's gonna have to block his view.
From a top 2 to a top 3, at least he's staying consistent. As Nick dropping down from above, no builds. Queasy taking a huge amount of damage, 10 HP each. They're scrambling to try to make a play, and Nick L30 is amazing with that elimination, but it's Ronaldo, it's Kanata, the thieves of the night, they steal away the game!
Ronaldo and Kanata from out of nowhere. They were always a part of the conversation, but everybody just took their eyes off for long enough that Ron could close this one out. That is what we expect of a former FNCS champion.
Hi boys, don't lose your voices before you've had a chance to talk to me. Pretty excited about that one. Everyone had their eyes on you going into this competition. Game number 3, you finally show up. How does it feel?
I mean, this guy right here is the GOAT, man. This guy's the GOAT. This guy's solo clutch, and you know me, I'm a FNCS champion. I carried my squad back in 2019. You know, the genetics and everything. We just a GOAT to do it. We waiting. When's next game?
I
mean, to be honest, that was probably the easiest game of Fortnite I've ever played in my entire life. All right, I'm not gonna even lie. We finally got a South Zone. Finally. If those who know, you know what I'm saying? We finally got a South Zone. The first 2 games, we're top left. We're running the whole map, landing bottom right. We finally get a zone, and I said we're gonna win it. And what happened? We won that game.
I feel like I'm hearing some excuses, though. Are you saying you're only going to win this if you get Southside zones?
He said, watch, if we get a zone, we're gonna win. What happened?
I mean, look at it. The first 2 games, 2 pulled max. Yo, we did top 5, top 3, and now we won. Easy.
All right, well, let's see if you can make it easy. As you were saying, Ron.
It's not over yet, though. We still got 3 more, so, hey.
There you go. Let's not get ahead of yourselves. Galen Center, please show some appreciation. It's Ron and Kana.
This is it, the true halfway point of the 2025 FNCS Pro-Am competition, and where you're at on the leaderboard, I feel like dictates how you get to play. In the top 5, business as usual. Anywhere down below, if you're looking for that #1 spot and to be able to hoist that trophy, you might have to get aggressive.
But some things are not going to change as Alex opening up with a big elimination. Loser Fruit said, hey, just keep hunting them down, and he sure is delivering right now. But Faxity, he's going to find the most shield currently at Dirty Dog. Semi kind of hesitating for a moment. Didn't want to take that mammoth pistol shot. Didn't feel like he was going to be able to actually close that gap. Cooper might actually be looking to take the charge though onto Fax.
Just kind of taking their time, feeling things out. They don't want to go ahead and make any decisions that they're going to regret later on. You've got to imagine you take that shot, you annoy them, something you would do to Peterbot, and then he kind of hunts you down the rest of that game. As Alex able to get that first elimination and kind of reunite side of the map. The dust has settled just a little bit until somebody makes a mistake.
Ron and Flakes just seem like they can't catch a break, though. If it's not Faxity and Reason, if it's not Zemi and Cooper, now they got to worry about Oshi with Alex and Loser Fruit. And another team that the desk kind of called out, hey, we'd like to see them enter a big part of the conversation for today's competition. Peterbot, though, completely taken down. Out of nowhere, typical Gamer and Booga, they just got up close and personal. They're tired of waiting for the action to come to them.
Oh, and that is a big loss. Not just the point that they give on over, but the Chug Jug and the legendary Slurp going on over to Typical Gamer. And it's Typical Gamer himself, boxed up Peterbot.
Oh, you know Pete's mad. You know Pete's not gonna let that slide. Booga, Typical Gamer, y'all better watch your backs, because if Pete gets onto the playing floor, it's going to be disastrous. But Mr. Savage, absolute catastrophe for him too. Toyota, Captain Shota, they're opening up big swings here. 1 elimination onto Savage now means that the exposure is so detrimental here if Savage doesn't get a chance to actually touch base.
Yeah, especially since he just rebooted right in front. They know Lachlan is going to be nearby. Focusing on that one, Alex does go down. Great shot by Moxie. It is going to be a trade, but Alex getting taken down by the Storm. Cypher PK being the hero, making sure that they get the revive. They don't want to waste any time sending Moxie onto the reboot, and they do get to keep their loot. A great heads-up play by Cypher PK closing in on that.
It's exactly what they needed. Alex, on the other hand, probably wishing that this exchange wouldn't have been so even. Good backup, though, from Cypher. At the same time, Captain Shota, Toyota, they found Savage yet again, and they want more, but Savage and Lachlan, they're on the run. It's Lacey. Actually, no, cancel that. Lockie. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry. You know that story about Lacey and Lachlan in the code. That's not the first person to make a little bit of a hiccup there, but They just know Savage and Lachlan have been running around. They're just on the hunt constantly. But now Savage is moving in towards Steamy Stats, and he's hoping with more and more teams over on this north side of the map that this could be a chance for them to get back up. But Benno with the all-seeing eye know that he's a solo and is immediately going on the hunt. Waiting for that perfect moment. Savage knows he can't glide up. That would leave him open to getting taken down, but Venno's gonna go ahead and seal that deal anyway.
It's just so unfair. Savage has no shield. And Venno not gonna waste any time, but this could be the problem. Savage being out. Lachlan's gotta buy time now, but Somerset just aggressing so heavily, barely managing to stay up long enough for Savage to be brought back in, but now the question is, will he be able to do the same favor for his duo? Because Somerset and Thomas are keying him heavily.
And this is just disastrous. Koyoda, Captain Shota is there as well. They were the ones that originally taken down Savage and Lachlan as a part of their game plan. Thomas and Somerset just taking advantage, but first place right now, taking down Ali A, Kanata and Stable Ronaldo. Getting busy here in the early game, and they have access to 2 different supply drops on the right side of the map if they want to venture towards the north.
Kanata and Ronaldo seem like they're really starting to find their rhythm here, Jacob, and if somebody's not going to force them to come to a bit of a stoppage, they might just start building a couple points too many for some of these other teams to really keep up with. But Mongrel, Allier, right now, the trouble is both in front and behind them. They're just looking for any sort of a breath of fresh air, but the lobby is just continuing to close in. It's a mayday situation here for Mongrel. And I'm not sure he's going to be left standing for much longer.
In the mini-map alone, there's about 5 teams, so it's not going to be easy for Ali A to get back up into this game. Especially since he's just going to get rebooted over and over again right above Mongrel. Typical Gamer and Booga. They were the ones that got that initial elimination onto Peterbot over towards Slurpee. That was able to get him a good amount of loot to take this far into the end game as Ali A gets picked off yet again by Peterbot. Hey, if anybody is going to be a second-half player in this tournament, it's got to be him, right?
Feel bad for Booga, though. He just got robbed a little bit there by Pete. Did all the heavy lifting, landing that body shot with the Mammoth pistol just for the single tag to credit that elimination towards Peterbot. And Pete, 0 complaints. Probably happy that Booga was able to still set him up indirectly. Zemi Cooper kind of just taking a moment, though. They've got space, they've got time to work with, plenty of material, really solid loadouts, mobility, chug-jug, splashes. This is practically everything you could ask for.
Especially since the zone is opening up in their favor, all the way towards the north, all the way behind them to the east. They know it's in zone, and they know the chances of teams being back there is relatively low. Not necessarily impossible as Peterbot. No, this is not the same replay we've seen. This is just Peterbot bullying Ali A. He said, you know what, Zeke? I don't care what you have to say.
Oh my goodness, this is sickening. Peterbot, let Ali A land, man. This guy, it just gets nothing except a constant replay cycle, Jacob. The lobby is only allowing him to exist to farm elim points off of.
It's like poking the bear. You poke Peterbot one too many times and land near his drop spot.
Look at everybody shooting at him,
Peterbot again! He has 5 eliminations. I believe 4 of them are just farming Ali A out of the sky. I feel so bad, but it really just means that Mongrel down below, even though he doesn't want to have to push up, I feel like he almost has to do something to cause a distraction.
This is not very wholesome for Ali A, man. This is brutal work by the lobby. Peterbot and Aussie. The punching bag that's been established in the sky. Aussie maybe keeping tabs though on the next loot crate. Jacob, Cammy, they could be looking like they want to actually steal this one for themselves. But look at Cold and Courage. They're also making their way in.
Oh no.
We got it. Production, take it over. No, if you go somewhere else, the other side of the map, please. I can't keep watching this highlight reel of Ali A being elimed off cooldown.
This is just insane. Peterbot without the Mammoth either. Just dealing tons of damage along with Ozzy, and they have their plan set forward. Then you got one team on one side of the map with Peterbot, calm as can be. On the other side, deep in the zone, 1v1, Thomas versus Veno. A battle of the ages for EU. He's gonna shockwave into the box, cause chaos, but Veno's gonna see that one coming. Quickly builds, trying to defend himself. Thomas not falling off just yet. Misses that opportunity by not firing the shot. That's gonna allow for Veno to stay alive just a little bit longer.
Somerset, gotta keep an eye on her as well. She might be able to actually help out Thomas HD here, and Veno still under so much pressure. Thomas does have a full Chug Jug if he needs it, and he's going to have to opt for the Chug Jug. But Veno doesn't have any whites. He manages to just barely find a handful of bandages inside of Steamy Sacks, but Thomas, he's putting on so much pressure. He doesn't want to let Veno get any kind of healing off, and sure enough, Veno, he just had the clock working against him.
Yeah, eventually Thomas knew he has to pop the bandage or fight back, and if he fights back, he's going down either way. Luckily for Veno, though, Reddish is going to be there on the outskirts, not necessarily getting contested yet. For Koyota, Captain Shota, they're going to be on top of the Steamy Stacks. They know they can use that to rotate forward, save the shockwaves, the grapples, and the crash pads for later, but they're just waiting to hunt this team down.
Wait, I don't know if Thomas is aware of the fact that those two are even up on top of Steamy Stacks. Luckily, though, they're going to make their departure before they decide to introduce themselves to Somerset and Thomas. Still, trouble brewing on the horizon here for Shota and Koyota. A couple of shots being sent their way, a few strays. Peterbot, no Aussie in sight, but Peterbot's applying so much pressure onto Flakes and Gone, and there's another team just ahead of the other side of those walls. But Peterbot is a solo. Aussie gonna manage to tag team, but it's Aussie and Ali A just fighting for their lives to try and land here.
That's A-okay. Peterbot, what I came to see this weekend.
Peterbot was gassing Ozzy. I'm considering it a compliment when Peterbot says he's not as bad as I thought he would be. And hey, Ozzy backing that statement up. He is popping off. The fact is, Mongrel is going to have some serious difficulties. He is being the punching bag now of match 4. Ali A might have just passed the torch along to his teammate.
He's just been hiding down underneath. Peterbot misses the shot, but now he has a full boxed up underneath. This is all over. As long as Peterbot can land the shots necessary, Ali A is not able to get out as he lands continuing shots after another. 3 straight back to back to back. But at least Ali A, you see the smile. He's a good sport for it.
My heart hurts every time Ali A gets eliminated at this point, Jacob. You gotta feel for them, but Mongrel's at least still alive. Aussie has opted to pull back. Slurpee still a little bit in zone, but this is the early game. There are still some recovery methods that could take place here. Don't want to count them out just yet, but it is going to be a very rough uphill battle for Ali A and Mongrel to find their momentum.
And at the end of the day, honestly, it doesn't matter how many times you go down, as long as you can go ahead and get elimination from yourself to keep it relatively close. Nobody chasing them this time around, so Ali A and Mongrel will have a good opportunity to load up over on the eastern side of Slurpee Swamp for now, until they get sniffed out by any of the competition. But I also did see Somerset getting taken down in the feed by Savage and Lachlan not too long ago, and she's forced to reboot. You notice she's not in the zone. She knows there's safety, there's time towards the outside, and that's exactly what she's doing.
Keep an eye, though. Veno and Reddish could be in a little bit of trouble. They don't want to find themselves pincer between Courage, Cole, Thomas, Somerset, but Veno, he's exactly where he wants to be, tangoing with Seti. Gets that initial elimination and sends Seti packing.
Literally just stole that wall away, didn't give Seti a chance to think about what he's going to do. But Lachlan, fresh rebooted back up. You see him, watching him like a hawk. Koyota is going to be able to, I was going to say get the knock, but it's Thomas HD who steals that one away onto Lachlan yet again. So for Koyota and Captain Shota, even though they're going to have to rotate on out, they have to figure out a way to kind of seal the deal on some of these eliminations and not let them slip through their fingers.
And look, I understand that you're going to keep being brought back into this match so long as your duo is alive, but for Lachlan, for Mongrel Ali A, we're looking at some of these teams that have just been struggling non-stop because they're not really getting an opportunity to farm anything up, Jacob. They're just trying to avoid being some of the first teams eliminated. It's Koyota, Shota now applying so much more pressure onto where Savage and Locky are actually at. And Koyota might be able to just force them to completely clash with them head on. But Savage is doing what he can. Savage is buying a little bit of space here.
Yeah, and this is a winnable situation for Mr. Savage. He has the pump. There's a Maven and attack on the other side. Not as hard hitting, even if you are a duo. So if Savage can figure out a way to wiggle in and out of some of these builds, draw out a 1v1, and maybe Lachlan catching somebody off guard, dealing some damage, it is going to be doable. They have the crash pad as well, 6 of them to be exact for Mr. Savage. So being able to disengage, also an idea in the back of their minds.
But if it's up to Savage, he'd much rather just let Koyota and Shota rotate out first, and they'll just try to play catch up after the fact. But with Thomas and Somerset also so close by, Menno and Reddish too, you can never count out being third party. So as aggressive as Shota and Koyota want to be, they're gonna immediately jump into Lachlan's box one more time. He is sent back to the reboot cycle, and this is where it gets very difficult because now Savage shooting at the crash pad, even trying to ensure that nobody can give chase, but he's just so low on material, Jacob. He is fully just bailing out.
Yeah, he's going over towards Steamy. He has to look for scraps, for bandages. That's going to keep him alive for a little bit longer. But if he doesn't find anything from here on out, Savage will go down yet again, but at least he's given a chance to get Lachlan back in the game. Somerset, Thomas, they got that one elimination from the backside of the zone. And this is a strategy, talking about Thomas and Somerset. If they go down early, they will not be afraid to stagger themselves back in the zone because it's Slurp Rush, Taco. There are so many barrels to get that HP back up.
For sure, but even then, you don't want to keep allowing other teams to farm those individual elimination points off of you. And one team that certainly hasn't had any difficulties hunting for those elims might just be Peterbot.
Okay, yeah, sweet. Come grab this. Okay,
I got the pulse rifle.
Wait, the pulse rifle?
Yeah.
Yo,
We win.
All right, so you want the green? Here, take.
I think it's coming out.
I got his back wall. I'm in his box with him. Nice. That's not someone to rat on me, but that's Sean. Nice, good stuff, bro. You want to come over and help you?
No, it was only...
Yikes. I kind of fear for the rest of the lobby. Mongrel getting taken down twice, but the mythic pulse rifle in Peterbot's hands, you could deal so much damage by scoping in just like this from far away, or the hip fire spray kind of works similar to an SMG, so he is looted and booted, ready to go.
A couple of eliminations onto Mongrel, nice, sure enough, but Peterbot, he literally just said, we win. That is how confident he feels having this weapon at his disposal, Jacob, and the rest of the lobby, understanding the impact he might have, they're not going to try to stick around Slurpy Swamp much longer. They're all just trying to immediately rotate around it, but Thomas, the highlight reel is back with this mammoth pistol. They've been trailing behind Koyota and Captain Shota for so long, and now Shota, Koyota paying the price.
I really believed in Thomas hitting that last shot at the last second. I thought it was going to be possible, but those are the dangers that you face around the entire lobby. If you kind of just get caught off guard for a second, the Mammoth Pistol, especially a headshot, can change the game around in the blink of an eye. Zemi and Cooper, they have such a good loadout, at least in the former global championship tandem Cooper. Zemi's there, and Zemi, no stranger to third-party style events. He has some big wins under his belt as well.
Saw for a moment there, caught a glimpse, Peterbot Aussie just looking to take an elevated peak position over Slurpy. They've got a pretty good idea of where some of the other teams are trying to rotate through. Queasy, Nick, a little bit more towards that front side of zone. Burnley, Box, just on a slightly hill position. And Kanata, Ronaldo, they're just waiting for the traffic to come their way. They'll be more than prepared to look for those eliminations, but they want to prioritize the positioning.
You see Captain Shota just getting taken down yet again. Peterbot's the one that's going to clean up the elimination, but I believe the point actually does go over to Cooper and Zemi. And this is zone 6, 10 seconds left. Reboots will disable. So anybody that is eliminated now on respawn will have a chance to get back into the game. But Taco, as of now, reboots are disabled.
And that might just be worst case scenario here for Shota. He's trying to swing around. And Unfortunately for him, a little bit of indirect assistance from the lobby. Peterbot punished, loses half of his shield while trying to take those pot shots at Shota. And that is a big saving grace. But it might not make a difference for some of these other duos looking to rotate around Slurpee. Bugha, typical gamer. Gotta be wary of what's lurking above.
Hey, Peterbot just continuing where he left off, just farming elim after elim after elim. Zone pulling towards the northwest or northeastern side of Slurpee Swamp here. Kind of back home for Peterbot and Ozzy, but for Seti and Gaia, they have a decent rotation. They can one-hop it to the front side of the zone. They can sacrifice the HP if they want to try to take some high ground. But for now, they're just trying to take it slow and steady. 7th zone, 5 more to go. You don't want to bite out more than you can chew at any moment.
And look, it doesn't need to be flashy. For Seti and Gaia, they found a lot of success with consistency by just playing to their team's strengths. Both of these players are competent. They've got a decent amount of LAN experience and just in-game competitive knowledge, and they're letting it be put on full display here currently. Savage and Lachlan, they've been working a little bit chalked since that early start, but Shota just cannot escape Peterbot's vision. Peterbot just entirely too high up. The advantages are so steep, and that's going to be Shota knocked one more time by Peterbot. Ozzy knows his responsibility. Let me just keep the material count high.
Yep, they're on the high ground right now, and that resource management is going to be crucial if you're looking to take it and keep it from zone to zone to zone and not really have to use the shockwave. Underneath, though, Cooper, Zemi, they do have the front side of zone already underneath their grasp. They have the luxury to be able to wait here, Taco. They can wait for it to open up, shockwave to the front side of zone to keep their position, or they can use their materials and tunnel their way there.
But some of these teams that were leading towards that top end leaderboard in our top 3 position, they've got to be getting a little bit nervous, seeing that elimination feed constantly light up with Peterbot's name and clicks. He's got a whole slew of problems right in front of him. Cooper and Zemi nearly taking him out. Lacey still a little bit left behind. Can he reunite? Crash pad gonna catapult him straight to the front side. He's building, he's boxing, but that's his last splash. Now he has to wait for Clicks to play catch up.
Now, at least they've reunited into the same box. Clicks now taking charge, even giving up some of the heals on over to Lazy. They might have shockwave out of zone one game, but they won't want to make that mistake again, especially with the leaderboard this close. As Reason getting a pair of eliminations. Stable Ronaldo now left by himself with Panada getting taken down, and he's somebody, we talked about his experience. He has a ton of it, but how much is it?
It's gotta be enough, Jacob. If anything, Ron's familiar with pressure, so he'll try to let that experience carry over into this type of solo clutch, but clutching is going to be so problematic. Everybody just getting so congested outside of Slurpee, and with Peterbot and Ozzy fully controlling the flow of this lobby, we saw Baxity for a moment, but it was only just a shockwave, a crash pad. Everybody trying to just stay one step ahead of the pack.
It's going to be extremely difficult for anybody to look up and try to contest it because of that mythic pulse rifle. Just constant pressure coming down from Peterbot and Ozzy. Everybody can feel it, and even Peterbot's just going down low, making sure to reconnect. The FNCS strategies are coming out in full force. That's how serious Peterbot's taking the second half.
And look at Ozzy from behind playing that supportive measure too. Peterbot, he's got open season on the rest of this lobby. All of these mid-tier, low-ground layers just getting smothered on top of each other. Peterbot and Ozzy have a full chokehold on this lobby right now, but typical gamer, Bugha, they're looking to try and make their debut. They're tarping their way through that secondary height, and Ozzy, he's gonna be forced to actually pull back. Took a little bit too much damage. He's gonna have to wait for the heals to pay out, but now, Queasy still alive as a solo.
Shockwaving, destroying some builds, but giving him a little bit of cover to look through, but Lacey spots him out, gets the elimination. 10th zone, placement points have not even set in just yet. 11 teams still alive, relatively loose with a couple of players playing as solos, Bugha being one of them. Lands a good shot on the Courage, but not enough to get that green light to go. Cooper, Zemi, they clean up Lacey, leaving Clicks by himself, and this is where players are falling left, right, and center. Clicks might be one of them because he's feeling the pressure.
And Clicks, he only has 2 builds left. Make that one build and a dream. Doesn't even get a chance to heal. He's gonna be taken out before he can continue trying to build up those placements. Zemi, Cooper though, one of our few healthy teams on the low ground, but can they escape Peterbot's vision? That's been the real deciding factor for so many of these teams. Courage also scrambling right next to them. Cole taking out Reason, though. Very big troubles, very huge scenes, though, as Courage finds his own elimination onto Jacob.
He just wiped the full duo out of the lobby. No siphon, though, so 30 HP. The necessary time for that Chug to pop is now. Peterbot slowly but surely dropping down. They realize this one is all but over in their favor. 2 Shockwaves have a Chug as well. More loot being passed up, but now they're contested. Flakes and gone, they're going up, but Peterbot's going out. He has the last grappler. He makes his way back to the zone. This is why he is king.
But Peterbot, he's got to get his way back towards where the zone is actually at. He doesn't want to find himself outside of it. Still has a Shockwave. He takes out Gone. That's going to be the massive refresh. All of these builds, Shockwaving up. One more tick could do it, but Peterbot barely managing to stay alive. He's on the high ground, and Aussie still right behind him. Aussie's going to play Disruptor on low.
You don't know who he is until you realize that is Fragger Aussie on the low ground, causing chaos. Peterbot's chopping down Cooper, sending him all the way down low to that low ground, and now that's his chance to put down pressure. Only 3 teams remain, and only one of them is a strong duo because Courage has just gone down. Cooper has no choice but to try to make a play. Everybody left alive is going to be solos. Cooper versus Cold in the backside of the zone as he takes down Courage.
But Cold, he's right there in the mind of Peterbot. Cooper trying to do what he can. Peterbot doesn't have a whole lot of HP to work with. He'll at least have the opportunity, though, from the high ground to play off these small shield potions. Cooper goes up, but Cooper gets knocked down! Peterbot with the clutch! We all know what he's capable of, and he is just continuing to deliver!
Both of these guys are playing in synchronization to make things happen when it matters most. Aussie dropping to the low ground, Peterbot doing everything else. They went into the second half, but they shown up and shown up big. Right, Frankie?
Well, they did show up big, and you know what? We know, Peterbot, you're the FNCS GO, but please give it up for King Kangaroo!
I mean, I think for most of that end game, I was just trying to stay alive. I mean, you just let the best do what he does. I didn't really do much, but that was the whole plan.
You got 2 eliminations to your name. You were alive in that end game. How much difference did Aussie make to your game, Peter?
I mean, he stayed alive very long. I mean, he did his job.
You sound surprised.
No, I'm not surprised.
And we aren't either, because Aussie, stand up for me, please. Listen, I always look short, even standing next to you. So tell me, earlier I was speaking to the 2 of you, and it sounds like Pete's letting you IGL a bit.
I don't know about that. I think he just let me make one decision. We're doing well. He's listening to my input. It's great. I mean, he's the greatest, but he still takes my advice. It's nice.
And your advice was to drop on Cooper and Zemi in game 2.
Okay, that sounds a bit bad. He wanted to go somewhere. I thought maybe that could be a play, but I love Cooper and Zemi, but...
It was your idea.
It was my idea.
I don't know why you credited it to Aussie, but I just want to ask you one more question. You got your first victory royale in the bag now, Peterbot. Does this mean the next 2 are yours as well?
I said we're going to win the last 3 games to Aussie, so...
All right, well, you heard the man. Let's see if he can make his prediction a reality after the break. Peterbot, let's see everyone!
This is their second to last chance to figure out a way to make up for lost time when it comes to that leaderboard. You go ahead and find yourself in a situation to where you can take more chances, get a little bit more aggressive, figure out a way to close that gap with eliminations, because Taco, it's been the 10th zone more times than not that has been granting the placement points because teams just won't go down.
But if you think about it, with Cooper and Zemi leading by just 3 points on that leaderboard in the penultimate game before today's final lobby, that's a lot of pressure, Jacob. Even for a seasoned competitor like Cooper and Zemi, it's still just so much bearing down on their shoulders, but they've got to see it through.
Yeah, especially if you're in first place, trying to play your game calmly, cool, collected, and then you just see the name in the feed lighting up with eliminations. It's almost going to force some teams to get more and more aggressive. Contested drop, though, this time around. Veno does look like he was getting aggressive over towards the boom and base onto Podesai and Nikov. Nate Hill's in the distance as well. And these are the type of strategy I expected to see. Game 5, Veno is able to land a good shot, but he is going to go down. We already saw Reddish at Steamy's stack, so we know where he's going to get rebooted at.
For a moment, it seemed like that was going to be turned on its head there for Pota's side, but Peacock still had the backup necessary just in case things went south. And now, Frenchie's just looking to try and ensure that they have Ruben base completely locked down. Venno dropping back in, though. Probably just happy about the fact that he wasn't beamed out of the sky like we've been witnessing so often here today.
Yeah, and I've already saw on the feed, we got Mongrel, Ollie, both going down respectively. But there's just so much action going down. Let's jump into Vaxity and Reason.
Nice.
Oh my!
What happened?
Oh my god! I got the luckiest thing ever! Of every exotic weapon!
Okay, nice.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh. Is that like a 0.00001% chance to get every exotic in that one chest? They gotta be the ones to look at for this game.
Not even 1 in a million, like 1 in a billion odds there, it seems like, Jacob. But that is everything just completely dropped at Reason's feet. Him and Vaxity have got to pop off this lobby. There will never be a clearer sign that this is your game. And remember, Vaxity said it himself earlier when we were talking to him. We're gonna bring home at least one. Please let it be this one.
This is their best chance with the loot that they have, as Alex just getting aggressive time and time again, fresh off the reload, but he gets taken down yet again. Loser Fruit barely have gotten enough time to reload back into this game before Alex going down. They're just kind of hoping, they're praying that they got some sort of landing spot to go ahead and land at, and then maybe they can worry about loot. But Regs saw the reboot. She's going fresh after Loser Fruit.
And Regs, she might have even alerted Flakes and Gone that their prey has now been fully intercepted. They're gonna opt to just prioritize farming up a little bit of material, taking a moment to pause here, really scope out the scenery. But a little look back season on what was taking place with Ronaldo and Cypher PK completely cornered by Kanata and Ron. A real strong tag team effort.
Yeah, and you see that box was literally on fire. There was no way for Cypher to really escape besides going at him, and almost looks like he got farmed again by Ozzy this time around. Moxie's trying to stay alive, get these reboots, but this is the last place on this entire island I would want to try to stay alive to get the reboots, because Cypher is getting the Ollie A treatment.
But Cypher will manage to escape Peterbot for the time being. How much longer, though? Aussie just gonna continue the conversation instead of pick up where Pete left off. That's some heads-up awareness from his duo mate, and that's the kind of chemistry that we've been witnessing come out really strong for Aussie and Peterbot at times. And Jacob, 5th matchup, 3 points away. I cannot emphasize on it enough, because that is such an easy striking range. Only 3 eliminations, and they've already got like 2.
And right now, you started as a 3-point game, like you just said. Well, guess what? It is literally a 1-point game, barring if Cooper and Zemi don't got elims, as Moxie lands a good shot onto Ozzy, but it's Peterbot the one you have to worry about. He dives straight in, gets the elimination, and he's just showboating yet again. Peterbot is putting on a show today.
This is where that mental fortitude's got to come into play for some of our competitors, when Peterbot is just nonstop emoting on everybody's body. And Savage, he might be next in the lineup if he's not careful, but it's Mr. Savage after all. He's gonna have a little bit of bite back. Pete's got to be wary. He can't just openly aggress into Savage's box. He might even shift his focus towards Savage's duo mate, Locky. He's got to stay closer to where Savage is at. Peterbot from overhead. Peterbot cracks Savage's shields entirely. Peterbot knocks Savage, and that's just another elimination added up.
Peterbot just said, I thought you retired. Maybe let me lend you a hand going back on over there. Lachlan just trying to stay alive. Like I said, this is the last place you want to be a solo, trying to keep your team alive, because they're going to see it. They're going to jump. Now they're pouncing onto Lachlan. They know Savage just got rebooted. He is on the clock, and time is definitely ticking.
But it doesn't even matter what's happening here for Lachlan and Mr. Savage. More importantly still, Cooper and Zemi. You've got to be panicking a little bit. You're watching that lead get completely flipped upside down, because Peterbot and Aussie are just relentless. They are farming Lachlan and Savage, and one more elimination off of Lachlan. Peterbot with 4 already. There's got to be some form of a disengage, but Savage, he'll meet his end. A full duo wipe, and that might actually be the best case scenario though for Zemi and Cooper.
100% best case scenario, because now there's nobody to farm out of the sky. And just like that, Peterbot and Ozzy have a 2-point lead over the competition and are not looking to slow down yet. Ozzy looking over, seeing that team building up on top of Slurpee Swamp into the distance. He said, yo, Pete. And he's just sharing up that information and letting him decide where they want to push next.
Never count out Clix and Lacey, though. They might want to be the first team to possibly repeat Victor Royale 2 on the day. And I like the fact that they're playing with so much patience. They don't need to do anything reckless. They've scouted out that Lucifer and Alex are on the bridge. And now, while Lucifer's trying to take this opportunity to heal, Alex left by himself. He's gonna have to play support. He's gonna have to try and prevent Clix and Lacey from pushing them entirely. And he's done enough. That's all he was really after, was just keeping Lucifer safe.
Yeah, because you don't want to get stuck. This is 5th zone. This is the danger zone for when you want to start to position, maybe not take those risky fights, because if you go down, get reloaded back into this game, there's almost nowhere for you to land, or nowhere safe at that. Especially for 7th zone, that's when reboots will be disabled. As Thomas, Somerset, 5 eliminations. A good portion of those were on NECA at 30, as Reddish is now taking her share of that point gain, taking him down yet again. They're just trying to take that slow rotation. Even with launch pads around, they know it's too risky to expose yourself with the Mammoth, the Snipers, and how dangerous so many players are with their aim.
Now I like this from Thomas, just taking a lower elevation, using some of that natural map terrain, but when you see these pre-existing builds heading up to the high ground, gotta be really careful. You never know what might be waiting for you. And Coyota actually gonna be the one with that mythic. We'll sorry this because dangerous scenes here, but Coyota doesn't get the opening shot he was hoping for. Shota now gonna look to try and back up his duo mate. Coyota trying to give chase, but he's just getting blocked off even from his own shots.
He was able to land one shot, but just a little bit too late. Somerset's there. They're trying to alleviate some of that pressure, and he's being so quick and predictive, trying to capture off guard, but no, it's Thomas that takes the big shot. Luckily for him, already pre-popped the legendary Slurp Juice, so the shield's going to take some time to get back on up, but it's well on its way. Playing defensive from one end, but it's forced to leave Somerset in a 1v2 situation versus Coyota and Shota, but this is great work by her, playing defensive, making sure that it's not going to be a free push, which allows her to reunite with Thomas HD.
The problem that Thomas kind of scoped out is Cold and Courage. They were just constantly spraying into where Thomas and Somerset were at. They're not going to allow them to key any further towards Coyota and Shota. It's just not safe. It's not worth the risk. Thomas knows better. And he's going to opt to just fall back, wait for the lobby to kind of settle in a little bit deeper into the zone.
And that's a scary box fight if you end up against Coyota. One of the few weapons in the game right now with that mythic charge shotgun that can actually hit a 1-pump. So you have to be careful, because that could have been a much different situation. Veno, Reddish, still going around the outskirts of the map, towards the outside, finding a lot of the different barrels that are left behind. The bigger the barrel, the more the HP, and that's something they're going to utilize in open water.
This is very familiar scenes, though, for Veno. He loves his dead side rotations, and it's a good heads-up play. You want to stay away from where so much of the attention is being drawn more towards that center zone, and with the way that they're basing up on a little bit of elevation, they might even have a great opportunity to kind of just pick off some other late straggler rotating teams.
Now the 6th zone, 50 seconds, and it will begin to close. So it's about 2 minutes, Taco, to reboots, or you can see in 45 seconds they're going to start to be disabled because it's already closing. Lacey's feeling the pressure. Now is not the time to go down. Ozzy's even pickaxing, trying to take control of these pieces. They know danger is looming around any one of these corners, and as soon as they drop down, they start to feel that feeling of safety, but it doesn't slow down. They're the focus of the lobby as of now.
They're barely getting just the smallest opportunities to try and restore some of that shield, but Clix, Lacey, they're just gonna shockwave out. They're gonna take their odds, just catapulting themselves further, but the lobby is not letting up. Clix so incredibly low. Lacey cracked as well. Queasy on the other end of things, but Flakes, he sees the white ticks. He wants to keep barrel barreling them with pressure. And Clicks, Lazy, they are just at their wits' end. They're practically out of material. If anybody else even spots out the fact that they're under so much heavy fire, they might just look to steal this one away from the rest of the lobby.
I gotta admit, it was Reason and Faxity. They have that exotic red eye, which means there's explosive damage, destroying a lot of those builds, which kind of started that lobby focus in general. Bad luck for Clicks and Lazy because now they just have very, very few materials. Reboots disabled. They're going to need an important elimination if they're looking to get back into this game. Kanata, Stable Ronaldo looking through these cones, trying to figure out when and where they have to rotate. They spot out Faxity and Reason. They don't even know the treasure trove they behold right above them.
That's a good hold, though, by Faxity, not allowing those floors to get fully chopped out. Kanata and Ron, they're going to have to default to a different strategy, and that might just be crash padding forward, trying to make sure they stay closer towards that front side. So many of our teams, though, have just been kind of duking things out in the low ground here, Jacob. And Clicks, Lacy, they're going to have to be a part of that because they need a refresh, probably more than everybody else that's still left standing right now.
Yep, 3 builds split between the 2 players. Cooper, Zemi already starting to rotate on over. There's a couple of chances here for Clicks and Lacy to start to get aggressive, but they're just waiting to catch somebody off guard. A nice maybe 200 damage, and it's Ozzy, the ones that looks like they're gonna pounce on him first. Peterbot already made his way on out, and now he's gonna be by himself because they go ahead and take down Ozzy and get the loot they desperately need to stay alive.
But it's just not enough material. Lacy still has 0 builds to work with, and there are shots coming in from every direction. They're just playing a little bit too close towards that backside of zone. Teams know that this is an injured duo. They are not healthy enough to keep pressing forward, but Jacob, he's lost in the fray. Cammy gonna be the only one left standing now at that duo, and Thomas with that mammoth pistol trying to see if he can take somebody else's head off.
This is where you really have to be careful and thoughtful of your shockwaves and your crash pads because someone just like this is gonna deal so much damage just like that. Queasy just gets deleted out of the sky, and their chances for high ground go out the window because it looks like it's Thomas HD and Somerset's turn to claim it as their own.
And Thomas all too happy to take over, but that's where things went south for Jacob. Just beam from the sky. No rotation is safe when you've got somebody like Thomas on high ground with that mammoth. But look at Faxity and Reason. Reason said he's feeling lucky, but he's gonna need more than luck to make his way up this hill face. Thomas, Somerset already beat him to the punch. Peterbot, no Aussie, but Peterbot, he's been here before, Jacob, and the last time we saw him, he managed to make it work.
With only 2 shockwaves, though, all that's left, that's his primary rotation to make it from point A to point B. But he does have blue pump and the gold mammoth. 1 pump around any corner, just like that. Nick at 30 is going to go down. Another point for that elimination, but this is now top 10. Now every team that goes down, you get placements.
But Seti, Daya, they were just sneaking their way up the hill face. Somerset, Thomas, too distracted. They're dealing with Peterbot right in front of them, but Somerset crash padding up. Typical Gamer nearly getting taken out. Typical Gamer actually gonna force Somerset to drop ultimate low. No, she's gonna try to go back up to her height, but Booga, he's already got control. Booga and Typical Gamer now fully taking over the high ground, and they gotta deal with Pete in the middle of it.
He's ready to challenge. Solo, teammate, he's somebody that's willing to go and risk it all for what he wants, but Booga, TG, you see they're running out of builds. It's Typical Gamer taking the charge, leading the IGL, the tarping, but in comes Peterbot yet again, taking down the shields of Booga, but he is limited with his resources, only 3 builds, so he can't break down into an all-out fight.
All the while, Seti Daya in the low ground. This could be the optimal position because the heavy work is being done for them. The lobby is thinning itself out. Kanata might even be able to find another knock. No, he needs the refresh more than ever. Podesai spotted out the wood box, not going to keep him safe for much longer, but Kanata forced to close off the wall. Scouts that it's Cooper and Zemi in the low ground, cutting him off, stealing that loot away from him.
Cooper and Zemi finally getting eliminations. They're playing towards that consistency. We know throughout the course of this game, Peterbot and Ozzy have taken away that first place, but there's still 6 teams that need to go down, which is 6 placement points, and he has that mythic charge shotgun, 1 pump potential for him. Peterbot, he's got a little bit of arsenal, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 1v1 versus Kanata. No siphon, no matters. Both of them go down.
Peterbot making sure that Kanata goes with them. Typical Gamer still on height with Booga, but Daya SETI, they're still up and kicking. Reason, Faxity to the high ground. Reason, Faxity seem like they want to be the ones to take over height. The challenge is a success. They're now on top. Typical Gamers stuck in the mid-ground. Everybody getting trapped inside the castle here at Fort Crumpet, and Typical Gamer will fall.
There might have been over 4 million different timelines looking through, but this might be the one where Faxity, a late entrant into the competition, could come out, but he's having a couple of hiccups from up, down, left, right. His HP's out the window, but Cooper staggering himself back. His only chance was left of the Chug Jug. He has to figure out a way in because he's the only solo left versus SETI and Daya. Faxity and Reason, the two strong duos, but they run into Cooper. He goes down. Reason is the one that's firing down from above. Hail and Brimstone with that red eye.
Like that! Faxity and Reason, they just need to close it. Reason gets the final blow, and SETI and Daya, they are out of here. Reason and Faxity, this is your moment. This is your victory royale.
The brothers are on top. You said it yourself. He guaranteed one. And that guarantee, that prophecy has just been fulfilled. We need to feel and see how they're feeling with Frankie.
Why are you saying sorry to Reason, Faxity?
Because he told me don't do anything stupid and I died.
You got nervous. But Reason, you got the victory royale!
Fucking go, man. Oh, I'm so happy. That was a nice win, but I told Fax don't do anything stupid and he just jumps off fight. By the way, Fax, you want to say it?
What happened? Oh, shout out to Mar. We love you, bro. If you're watching from home, thank you. We're trying to win for you, bro.
Yeah, and he is going to give you all of his prize money. He told me that earlier this week. Now stand up, boys, so everyone can see you, please, because everyone in the Galen Center obviously wants to give you their support right now. Reason, what was your reaction when you found out you were going to be playing with this man?
I mean, I was happy. I like him. He's good. It was fine.
And has he taken you by surprise? I mean, you just got a victory royale. You've only been playing together for a couple of days.
No, he's been playing good. He's actually been playing good. I've been advising him a bit. He's good now.
And in fact, I have to say one of the highlights of this entire event has just been watching your shenanigans on the internet. But you're showing you can also put your money where your mouth is because you're here with me right now. Have you got anything to say to people at home watching, supporting you?
I appreciate you guys. We're going to try to win last game as well. Let's keep doing what we do.
Do you think you can? Yeah, of course you can.
Shout out to Germany, shout out to all my viewers, and nur der HSV.
Dankeschön. I mean, he's one of the most popular streamers in Germany. I'm sure they're all wishing you well, even though it's past your bedtimes, Germany. Right, guys, we have got to take a short break. But when we come back, everything is going to be on the line. Don't go anywhere.
All of our competitors know that this is their last chance, the last stop the Battle Bus is gonna make in the 2025 FNCS Pro-Am here at the Galen Center. I better hear you guys get real loud for these pros as we seal the deal on what comes next.
Things kind of staying the same over towards the dirty docks. All three teams landing here. Reason, Faxity, they're landing towards the outside, just trying to get what scraps are left behind. You see some rare chests there, but Savage and Lachlan said, you know what? With everything on the line here in this last game, let's just contest one of the greatest of all time, Peterbot and Ozzy, and see if we can try our luck. Because if we take them off the map, you got to imagine that opens up possibilities for more and more elims.
And this might not be what Savage was looking for, though. Buga gonna temporarily prevent Peterbot from outright keying Savage, but Peterbot, he has other plans in mind. He's looking for that fight regardless. Savage just trying to keep this wall closed off long enough, but Pete already immediately looking to take it. Savage scrambling, ducking every which way, but Savage, he just can't get the return blow he needs. Savage is gonna fall, and Peterbot's gonna let him know what's up.
It's just disgusting. It was almost like Peterbot playing with his food with a couple of those edits. Instantly gets the upgrade with a shotgun, so now he's gonna have the Thunder. With the red eye, they're saying, hey, just keep on coming. Savage gets reloaded right above. That's where they're gonna look up and try to land the shots, but just a little bit too late and slow to go ahead and attack that one. And that gives it up to Buga and Typical Gamer.
Heads up play, though, from either Typical Gamer or Buga, not sure which one, but shooting shots to Peterbot so that he can't continue to try and apply pressure there. And poor Lachlan, he's just caught in the center of all of this. He can't even afford to leave because you've got Aussie up on heights at Slurpy Swamp. Savage doing what he can to see if he can finagle his way out of this one. But with two separate teams just hawking you down, what odds do you really have of making something out of this match?
You almost just gotta hope Peterbot gets bored and goes and moves on to somebody else that could potentially get rebooted. Lachlan's only chance is just kind of hide and bunker down into that bush. Well, he gets found out, so his only chance went out the window. But luckily, he did buy enough time for Mr. Savage to get reloaded back into this game.
But hey, can't discount what Seti and Daya have been able to accomplish throughout the course of our lobbies today. 54 points going into this one. Alex brought to his end. Only temporarily though, but it looks like Gon and Flakes have had enough. They are sick of the off-spawn fight being so conveniently interrupted by Alex. They say, hey, if you're looking for a fight, we'll pick one with you instead.
That's a heavy hitter to get out of the game as well. Not fully out, but definitely making him reset his looting opportunity as Peterbot straying away from Slurpy Swamp for a short moment. Still on the hunt for Lachlan and Mr. Savage. Both of them are just in complete shambles here. Really not able to answer the call as Peterbot gets the wall, gets the piece once, and as he fires a 78 shot, it's just a little bit too quick to the punch as he takes down Lachlan. And it's just a huge giveaway because guess what? In about 12 seconds, Taco, he's going to reload right above Savage. And they're not only going to know where Lachlan's at, they're going to get a feel of where Savage is at as well.
But Peterbot's not trying to go too far from where Aussie is at. You have to remember, Booga, typical gamer, they are still kind of just conveniently sticking around the outskirts of Slurpy. But poor Lachlan, he just can't catch a break here as Pete takes him down one more time. 4 points already just off of these individual eliminations that Pete's been building up. Zemi and Cooper, Seti and Daya just watching this elimination feed be highlighted with Peterbot's name off cooldown. It's got to start playing mental games with you.
Already a 5-point lead over the competition of Cooper and Zemi. More so over Seti and Diaz. Kanata and Stable Ronaldo just below them, 4th place on the leaderboard. They're going to need a monster last game. I'm talking 20, maybe 25 elims and the win. What a way to start it off, though. Nice shots on the Cypher PK, and that's the first elimination in the books.
Look, Kanata, all he wanted was South Zones, and I get that that hasn't necessarily gone your favor, but Ron and Kanata are still here to play, Jacob. They are not giving up, and the expectations that they both set for themselves, they're strong competitors, and they're strong-hearted competitors at that. I'm sure that we'll expect to see them pop off a little bit here with some eliminations.
Disaster continues for Lachlan as he goes down again. You see Mr. Savage just outside on that mini-map, just trying to get him back into the game as Nikov, Podesai, making their rotation away from that booming base, that uncontested drop that they've had throughout the day. They're just waiting. 12 seconds have passed since Lachlan went down, so he gets reloaded back in the game, and that's a lot of information being given up, and instantly Podesai and Nikov are going on the chase.
But this is exactly what the Gentlemates are going to be forced to do. They know that they're going to need more than just a strong placement to close things out. If they really want to play leapfrog with the leaderboard position, they're going to need a good chunk of eliminations to go with it.
Yeah, as of now, I do believe they're, about 19 or so points down from Peterbot and Ozzy, and that's including some of the eliminations that we've had in this game so far. Seti and Daya. They started this one in 3rd place, 54 points, 3 points outside of that 1st place spot. They're just looking around, trying to get some eliminations, but you know how safe, how calculated and careful Seti does like to play, especially that he knows he has the firepower and the loadout that Daya has in their inventory with those 2 legendary slurp juices. So as long as they let those eliminations naturally come to them as they're rotating for that 50-50 is, I think they'll be okay.
And Seti and Daya, they also know exactly where a couple of these opposing duos are actually located. Poor Lachlan, though. He has just been getting beatboxed every single time he loads back in. The moment that he starts to drop, it just seems like there's going to be somebody looking to clean him up. And Savage, there's only so much he can do because As a solo, it's so difficult to actually try and prioritize getting the resources necessary to make your teammate be healthy enough to stabilize, but that's all they're looking for. It's just a little bit of stability, and that might be enough to make a difference for the leaderboard.
Yeah, especially since they both, at one point or another, were taken down during the course of this game. So loot has to be light as Kanata, stable, Ronaldo rotating in continuously from the north, from bush to bush, box to box is Seti. Hey, this is looking like a bad opportunity there for Cypher PK, fresh off the reload. He got just a little bit of loot, but it was instantly snatched away by Seti.
All Seti really wanted in the first place, with their full intention of hovering around that stilt town. They knew Cypher, somebody, it just keeps dropping in. Cold, picking some shots at his IGL. But Cold knows better than most. You take the advantages when you have them, but he doesn't necessarily need to try and force that engagement. It's a little bit of damage. The knock would have been nice, but if he doesn't get the clean headshot, he'd rather just move in towards the zone, prioritize positioning, and then you can just peek back and control the flow of the lobby.
Right now, Courage and Cold just trying to focus on their rotation. Starting this game about 7th place, 33 points. They're at least within grasp, especially if some of their competition above them on that leaderboard goes down early. Zemi and Cooper, they have placed top 7 in all 5 games, but they find themselves in 2nd place due to just the sheer regression of Peterbot and Ozzy able to pick up those elimination and close the gap for the bad games that they had at the start of the game.
And the scariest part too here for Zemi and Cooper is that every single time you can tell they're looking, they're hunting to see if they can find a knock, start building some elimination points of their own. But as long as there's mammoth pistols, as long as there's snipers, it's so dangerous to peek, because the moment that one of them gets taken out, they will just be so turbo focused, they won't have a chance to try and recover.
Ooh, I like this loadout coming out from Clix. He has that mythic minigun. In reload, when you're almost essentially box to box away from so many other teams, all it takes is someone like Clix and this loadout to start a lobby focus. And then bam, there goes one player, there goes 2, it's zone 5, so they will have a chance to get rebooted back into the game as Savage and Lachlan seemingly still on top of figuring out how to make it work. It's Venish and Redo though, they're on the outside that are just closing in on that distance, and now Clix is joining in on some of that fun.
There's just nowhere for Lachlan to land. The zone is already too tight, and everyone is just preventing this poor man from actually setting even 1 foot for longer than a second on the ground. And Lachlan, he might as well almost be forced to wait until the reboots turn off, because when that actually closes off, that will be the real green light for Savage. Okay, I'm fully a solo, but Savage is probably already playing like that.
Yeah, and he's just getting chased back there yet again. This time he was able to survive, touch the ground, but not for too long as Benno and Reddish were able to clean that one up yet again. There's just a lot of pressure being put onto Mr. Savage into this last game, because even though reboots have not been disabled just yet, where is Lachlan going to land? He can go deep in his zone, but he's going to have to make his way out eventually.
But look how Peterbot and Aussie, they just kind of creeped up a little bit onto this hill face that's just a little bit below where Benno and Reddish are at. A lot of shots being fired, and Peterbot knows everybody's so distracted behind them, they can just look a completely different direction. And Zemi with no Cooper, this could be absolutely disastrous here, Jacob.
I think Zemi knows what he's doing, though. He knows exactly what he's doing. He stopped rotating, boxed up immediately, knowing that they have to reach zone. So why not use this time to let Cooper reload back into this game, get as much loot as possible, because you can't really go loot for it, and maybe drop what he has. But you're seeing how Cooper went down into the first place, the crash pads. A lot of these players have those audio visuals, but guess what? With the crash pads, you see nothing.
Nothing. Just menacing by Kanata. Pretty much Goomba stopping Cooper. And that's going to be a steep uphill battle for Zemi and Cooper to try and tackle. Clix and Lacey. That Mythic is just going to be very detrimental for so many teams caught behind them too, because players are going to try to seek out that elevation point that Clix and Lacey are on, and they just have the ultimate cutoff.
Queasy and Nick, they're the ones that are on the high ground for now. 6 zone relatively early, especially since we're going to rotate around the map here in a couple seconds. And man, that is a max pull for a good portion of the lobby, including second place Zemi and Cooper.
Zemi has no builds.
Oh,
Jacob,
no.
Zemi has 0 material, and it's really only just begun. Clicks and Lacey, sure, we might be looking at them currently, but for the top 3, Zemi, Cooper, they're already having to function with all odds against them in terms of challenging for that first place position on the leaderboard.
They're getting challenged not just on the top side, but for their second place spot as well. Seti and Daya have just tied them on 56 points. The only thing holding them above is that victory royale that they got in game number 1. And that's how close this leaderboard is. Those small differences, the tiebreaker scenarios could play a role. It's Queasy trying to lead the charge. He's going to go first, grab the high ground as Cooper grabs that important elimination onto Captain Shota.
That was huge for Cooper and Zemi. Anything to kind of stem the bleeding that this duo has been dealing with. They have just been getting completely forced out of so many of their resources. So even the smallest lifeline can have a huge impact, but they still have so much left to tackle here, Jacob.
He's still picking up some eliminations as well. Squeezy getting 4 for himself. Him and Nick once again having an amazing time on that high ground. As hopefully they can hold on to it, though. They do have the crash pads and a lot of players down below. We've seen the shockwave plays time and time again as Peterbot picks up his 5th elimination by itself. 6th of the team as him and Ozzy focus Kanata and Ronaldo towards the backside of the zone.
And Peterbot, the fact that he's rocking those double chug jugs, that is a sight to behold. Obviously, the other competitors aren't fully aware of that fact like we are, but Pete's already aggressive in his own right. Having the double chug jug already unlocked for him just means that he can choose to go for those solo pushes and just trust Aussie to play supportive measures or defensive measures. His objective right now is survive.
Just like Clicks, and he has to do it by himself as a solo. Not sure how Lacey went down, but he is out of this one. Joining everybody else watching this one, seeing how Clicks is going to get out of this tough situation. He does have the mythic minigun, but Toyota's there on the other side, pressuring him. You add in the shockwave, all those builds come crumbling down. It's a tough situation for anyone to be in, let alone a solo.
But Pete, he's just got so much material. He doesn't mind giving up a little bit. But Aussie, he's been picked off from behind him. Peterbot now trying to see if he can actually dart his way back, but he can't get to Aussie's body in time. He's been cleared out the high ground. The real reason why Aussie couldn't make that rotate next to Pete, Queasy, and Nick at 30. They're still in control of Height 2, just launching themselves to the next front side of zone, and that's gonna force Peterbot to drop yet another layer.
And you see they didn't even tarp on over, not trying to have too many weak points for them, only build out when they have to, and Jacob gets eliminated down below. Top 12 situation here, placement points don't come in until 2 more teams do go down, but they're still holding on to it with every fiber of their being. Nick at 30 and Queasy, this might be the time that they have high ground and close it out.
Clicks is just so trapped in the backside of zone, barely managing to make it in off a sliver of HP, but Nick, Peterbot now continuing to just try and see if he can create any form of space for himself. He spotted out Thomas, but not sure that he's completely sold on actually taking this fight up close just yet. Peterbot gets a tag, but it's not a big enough one. He's gonna use that grappler instead to move on forward, but he's gotta be real careful. There are so many players starting to build a congestion on his layer.
And if Peterbot were to fall here, he has a little bit of a cushion that Zemi, Cooper, Seti, Daya will have to overcome, and even one more point being cleaned up as he gets the elimination on to Clicks. That's 6 solo eliminations for Peterbot. Him and Ozzy have 7 overall, and they're trying to continue to increase that lead. And you're seeing our top 3. Seti is now by himself. He's feeling that same pressure that Peterbot is.
But wait a second, Zemi, Cooper, they might have just been reintroduced to this winning conversation. Seti getting sent so far outside into the storm, he's gonna have to use his chug jug way too early. Valuable seconds being ticked off here now. Trying to crank back up, trying to shockwave back into the zone. He does manage to make it, but only 20 left on that chug jug. Cooper loses Zemi though. Cooper's got to do this all by himself.
Luckily for Cooper, though, he does have med kits, the legendary slurp juice, different options here. Everybody in our top 3 are now officially solo players trying to hunt here, basically trying to outmatch each other. Now placement points are starting to come in. Top 9, top 8 as another one's going to fall. That's Somerset that gets taken down. Kanata is now out of this game. The players are now getting closer and closer here toward the end game where our final 3 could face off.
But that elimination that Cooper just got onto Queasy, that might might just be enough time. Cooper doing what he can to try and see if there's any spare heals that he might be able to find back. So, but Peterbot takes out Seti. Seti and Daya, they're no longer in the conversation for first. Peterbot trying to hold strong to their position, but there's still other players to deal with. Cooper also doing the same on the low ground, and Peterbot's out of here. Cooper has the opportunity of a lifetime here to bring this one home.
He needs placement. He needs eliminations. It's his chance to put up some big numbers here in the final game of the day, but he finds himself in a 1v1, v2 situation here for our final 3 players left in the game, and the duo, EU's finest, Podesai and Nikov, going against Gone. That's the solo player who shockwaves towards the top, tries to fire a shot as he drops down low. Cooper's just letting them handle things. He said free placement, I don't mind.
Cooper, he might be looking to even try and send somebody back into the storm. He's got 5 shockwaves. He can buy himself a little bit of time. He's going to go straight up. He's going to throw that shockwave out, but it's not going to connect. Podesai going to get chopped out because of Cooper sending himself off of the shockwave, but Cooper, he's just stuck between all of France here. Podesai and Nikov, they will find the Gentlemate's victory in Game 6 here, but the damage has been done. Cooper following what he did. Your FNCS 2025 ProAM champions are decided. Peterbot and Oceantics.
One full day of competition, Taco. 6 games. You got Peterbot, reigning defending global champion. You got Ozzy, one of the biggest faces of competitive Fortnite. They went ahead and dominated with multiple eliminations. They got a victory royale. That's why your FNCS ProAM champions, Ozzy and Peterbot!
Because it took them until later in the competition to really take it by force. But once you had that victory royale under your belt, Peterbot, it was inevitable that you will be stood with me and this trophy. What does it mean to take victory at the Pro-Am?
It means everything because now I'm back-to-back LAN winner, so.
You are, and potentially you could be back-to-back later on, but that is something we need to discuss another time, because right now, Oceantics, you must be so proud of yourself and Peter.
I'm pretty proud. I mean, he's the GOAT. Everyone knows this is his win, but I did my best to try to make sure I didn't hold him down, and I didn't stop the run.
And what's interesting is, normally, you are watch partying this man do his thing, and now the world is watching you win. What's that like?
I mean, to be fair, in the last 2 games, you were watching me watch him again, so it felt kind of normal. He was solo clutching like crazy, but it feels amazing, genuinely. This is super fun. This was such a good event.
And what is going through your mind when that need to win really takes hold?
I don't even know. It just means everything.
Does it come naturally? Do you enter a flow state?
Yeah, I mean, like, after the win, I knew we were going to win the tournament because, like, the momentum from that game.
And you've got so much insight now for when you're watch partying at NA Major 3, Oceantics, because you know what it's like to be on comms with this man. So can you give us some insight now?
I mean, he did slow it down a bit for me, especially in that last game. He kept me with him, which I'm pretty proud of the fact that he cared enough to slow it down, but it's unreal. Trying to follow him is insane, but I'm just playing and it's just Elim. He's something else.
Any words to your fans before I let you lift this trophy one more time?
I appreciate all you guys, and I'm glad to bring it home again.
Well, you know what? Fortnite is all about moments, as a very wise man once said. So let's make another one right now. Guys, if you'd like to take your position behind the trophy. And please, Gallon Center, one more time! Make some noise for your 2025 FNCS Pro Champion!
I cannot believe it, guys.
throw these headsets on. Come here, Ozzy. Come here, Ozzy. Wow. To think, Ozzy, we've been friends for a really long time. Man, a really long time. To think it all began on an FNCS broadcast.
Yep.
And now we've taken it to a win in an FNCS Pro-Am. Brother, how does it feel?
I mean, it's the same corny thing always. It feels amazing. I don't really know what to say. I wasn't honestly expecting this. I know it sounds crazy, like I'm playing with Peterbot, like he's the favorite to win, but I thought like there's some really, really good duos here, but I mean, he's just too good. But it's been so much fun. The event's been amazing. The vibe's been amazing. I'm so happy. I'm 1-for-1 win now. 1 tournament, 1 win. Now I got to stop. I know everyone's going to ask you to keep playing. Nah, done. 100% win rate. That's it. I'm going to hold on to that.
That's awesome, Pete. I mean, I feel like we're good friends now. I see you like this pretty often.
Yep.
You know, another accolade, another notch on the belt. Does it feel any different? Does this feel special at all? Or are you just like, well, another day at the office?
It's just another day, to be honest. But it does feel good to play in front of a crowd because you don't get to do that often. And to win, you know, it just feels good.
Guys, before we get to Vivid and his questions, we also have medals as well. So you guys can get trophies, medals.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, this is my. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Nice. Yeah. All right. I get this.
You.
I mean, and that trophy, it is heavy.
It's
like heavy. I don't know. I haven't looked at a trophy before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Was not expecting that.
All right, Pete, listen, you know, I listening to Ozzy's answer there. He's like, yeah, I'm playing with the GOAT. I'm playing with the GOAT. He's just so good. Elam. Give us a little insight how it was to play with Ozzy.
It was actually pretty good. You know, he's really good at staying alive while I'm just trying to rack up some eliminations, and that's basically just what we did the entire time.
Okay.
I mean, Peter, we've seen your streak in competitive, but you also have a streak as a sub for Ozzy and Tig.
Oh, yeah.
Keep subbing to him.
He's a fan. I mean,
I'm just W supporter.
Yeah, W supporter, honestly. Yeah, he's been a supporter since day one. I really appreciate it. It's been good.
I have a question. If you guys could just take a small step back. If you just want to hold this up to the camera.
Yo!
Hold this up.
Look at that! Let's go, baby! It was first official LAN win game and then the tournament. So, I mean, Peter, thank you so much, bro. You put OC on the map, man. Well done, bro.
Got you, bro.
You got this.
How does it feel? Ozzy, it was you. Shout out to Lachlan for, of course, that map.
Yep.
You guys got OC a victory on LAN and a title. How does it feel? It's you, dude!
I know. I don't think it'll set it until later as well. I do want to take the moment as well. It's also Mother's Day back home for me, so I missed my mom and my beautiful wife and her second Mother's Day, so shout out to them for being so supportive as well. But yeah, it feels amazing. It's been a surreal week meeting so many of my heroes and friends that I've met before. It's amazing. We have to do another one of these. That's all I'm saying.
I love that. Pete, how's it been for you? Obviously, like, you know, you're pretty used to like the pro side of things, coming in, meeting these content creators. You're also like, dude, respect, they're dapping you up. How's it been for you?
I mean, it's just good to see everyone, especially just playing on stage, you know? I don't know. Especially like when you like eliminate them, it's like you really don't get to do that often, you know? It feels good.
I do want to say as well, the crowd, my first time playing in front of a crowd, this crowd was electric. Thank you so much, guys. The energy every time. I knew every time you got an Elam off spawn if they were watching or not, because you could just hear the crowd yelling. It was amazing.
Guys, congratulations again. Don't forget your medals. You guys get out of here. Go celebrate one more time, audience. Your 2025 FNCS Pro-Am champions, Ozzy Antics and Peterbot! My goodness gracious.